All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
What should I have pulled up? Did my imager thing work? Because I'm a boomer and it took me like 3 hours to figure that shit out.
Damn. Yeah, some people get
Yeah,
it figured in
man.
5 minutes. Some people take a while to get it.
Dude, well, I had each individual um like photo and then I like was like, oh shit, I could just like paste them all into like 5 photos instead.
Yeah, yeah. If it's all one photo,
Oops.
that it's
Really
probably
small.
easier to upload that way. But then it's harder for me to get keep like an overview of all the items because there's so many, right? If there's only 6 or 7 items, it's no
Yeah.
big deal. But since there's 20 plus or like 30 at some point, it's like just scrolling through real quick and just seeing in one look like, oh yeah, that's what we're looking for. Because I do a lot of
Yeah.
these, and I don't want to make I want to make sure I don't take like I like imprint them and then I forget them really quickly as well. Because for the next one, I
That's
can't
okay.
be in my brain. I can't have like the last guy's equips in there because then I'll make like completely wrong connections and shit. So
Oh,
try to
that's all right.
compartmentalize that. So
Yeah, man.
it's easy to do this way.
Fair enough.
So we have you as a 235 Lumi, go in beast mode,
That's right.
going
Well,
go,
kinda, yeah.
going solo beast mode or
No, I just like play on and off a lot. I
mm-hmm.
was in a guild before I left last. Last time I think I left was after the that crazy nuts leveling event.
Mm.
It was the not
Celestial
upsurge.
blessing.
It's like, yeah, that thing. I played for like fucking 8 hours a day and then got burnt out. So that was
That can happen. Yeah.
yeah, word. So I don't know. I got like some questions about that. I want to know how to avoid burnout, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll get to that later. I don't know how these go, so
Well, just if you have a starting question, we could start there.
I mean, sure. Like how do you? There's so many things to do on this game. Like how do
Mm-hmm.
you avoid burnout? Because my whole MapleStory career, other than when I was a kid, we all like played for 12 hours a day, no problem. But like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got no.
you know,
People are always romanticizing like the older versions of the game, but I think a lot of that is
well,
just people. You had no
youth.
responsibilities, right? You were a kid, so you
Yeah,
could do whatever.
exactly.
So you were way more free.
Got home from school. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you do like half an hour of homework or something, and then you have like the entire day to just
yeah, man.
goof around and do whatever. So I think a lot of that is like imprint or like bad association with not like how the game was back then, but how you as a person were back then and how
Yeah.
carefree you were. So that
Oh
as you
yeah.
get older and you get more responsibilities, that definitely
Yeah,
that
I have
takes
no
a
time to grind for till 4 a.m.
exactly. Yeah, I mean some of us do, but probably
Hey
shouldn't even if
man.
we do.
Oh,
Because I
man.
streamed until 4 a.m. yesterday, so that's kind of
Oh
why
yeah,
that's
dude,
that
you're
was a good
nuts.
reference. Um, but yeah, I don't know if you ever like dealt in in real life with someone who did like burnout because it's very similar to like burning out in your job, or I don't know if you had like a similar situation with someone at work or in real
Yeah,
life.
that's kind of like I mean, I kind of go through phases of like I play a lot of chess and then I get burnt out of that, and then I go to MapleStory, I get burnt out of that. I play Team Fight Tactics, League of Legends, get burnt out of that. Like I think I
Mm-hmm.
just go too ham in one thing and then I like make it a job. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, it
Like
could have
I
something
always
to do
feel like
with your IGN, right? Maybe you just go really hard. Maybe you just go beast mode at what you do.
and then I
Um,
just
mhm.
yeah. So I don't know how to like compensate for that, I guess, to like I don't know what how to explain
Yeah,
that,
what is
but
it like
yeah,
the candles that or like the lights that burn the brightest die the first, right?
that's it.
Um, there's yeah, to me it kind of comes as a second nature. So I have spent like the last years definitely trying to kind of figure out where that comes from and how I do that. Um, to me, it always just comes down to finding a healthy balance.
Yeah.
If there is just if you're just in a mood for a certain game and that passes, and then you're in a mood for another game, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But if you're switching out because you're like literally mentally fatigued and stuff, that's probably not a. I mean, it's good that you're at least realizing that that barrier, but it's probably not too good to keep pushing that. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you're probably right.
to me, it's always a matter of balance, right? When someone is like, "Oh, I play too much Maple," and then they're um, their fix to that is like I'm gonna just like either I'm gonna boom all my gear or I'm gonna uninstall it. The first reaction in my head is you're still letting the game control, or whatever it is that's controlling your urge to play. You're still letting that thing have control, because now it's not determining how much you play, but now it's determining how much you don't play. It's still not you actively coming, making like a checks and balances of like pros and cons and coming to a solution of what makes sense for you personally. Because and a lot of time what I end up seeing is that those person are like, okay, I cut Maple out of my life, I have so much free time now, and then they install WoW and then they play that for 12 hours a day. And it's like
you get bored, right? Like
but you're not solving any problem there, you're just moving it around slightly,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So I think it comes down to just balance, which is like a simple concept, but it's hard to execute, of course. For Maple, what it comes down for me is finding out what are the things I enjoy doing. Why do I log into this thing? What is enjoyable to me? For me, it's simple. I like the stream interaction. I like informing people. I like figuring stuff out. I like learning new things. And since there's so much to do, I never run out of like, oh, now that I literally did everything. Like, that's never going to happen. Because now when I feel like I did a lot of the bosses, there's still like a bunch of bosses I haven't done in my main character. And all the bosses now I'm doing on, or at least up to CRA, I'm doing on all the classes in the game. Which I know how those bosses work, but I don't know how that interacts with all of the different classes. So now I'm going way in width. So that's how I solve that problem for me, so I can keep making content, so I can keep getting a different point of view of a situation, hopefully enrich my whole experience and the amount of information I can give to my viewers. But so those things are kind of bore out of what I enjoy doing. So I guess what it comes down, or what a good place to start is what do you enjoy doing? That's mainly why I asked that as one of the first questions for all these sessions, is what do you enjoy doing in the game? Like, when you log in, what is the thing you're looking forward to?
I think it really is like progression. I used to play with my buddy, and he doesn't play anymore, but he was like crazy. Like, you'll notice I have a lot of like I don't know if they're high end anymore, because I know a lot of people went to like Arcane and such, but like I have a lot of decent equipment, but I don't have a very good idea of the game, because I'm just like Omega boosted. Like he would just like carry me through. Like, I can't do C-Vel because I just don't know the mechanics, because I got carried, and like things like this. Like, I have to relearn the game from this, but I also enjoy like the progression of the game, and that's why I keep coming back, because it's like chill. It's not like competitive with I find that a lot of the other games I play are really competitive, like, and I get, you get tilted and whatever, but like I come back to MapleStory because it's like I could do shit at my own time, and you just kind of
that kind of goes against it, right? Like, if you not that it's like contradictory, but if you want to do things for yourself in your own time, but that also means that for progression you do have to kind of make sure you're not too reliant on getting carried, right? Because then you become reliant for your progression. Like, if you want to do a MOBA, like you need you need like 9 other people to queue in to be able to play. But for Maple in general, if you just want to do your own thing, you can do that.
You're kind of starting over and
well, since you did like get a bunch of stuff already, that does mean that you can start and you can ease into those things more comfortably, right? I'm doing now.
Right.
So I just soloed CRA yesterday on a Kadena, which I don't play Thieves. So the amount of I don't know if you saw like the beginning and the end, but the amount of progress I was able to make in one day. Of course, this is with the experience of probably like not really the class experience, but I have done every boss like hundreds of times, so I know exactly like their patterns. I know like I know where things can spawn, where they can't spawn. I know what is a high risk situation, what is a low risk situation. So I'm able to adapt more quickly probably than the average person, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, like with the first boss with Queen, that gave me a lot of hardship. So what I decided to do is I'm gonna always save up my my bind, because the bind has an iframe in it, so I can ignore a bunch of the fire stacks, because I pretty quickly realized that those fire stacks, that's the thing that like messes me up the most. And what ended up saving me was someone in chat saying like like it's something that I had considered before, but I hadn't considered the implications yet. Someone's like, why don't you put your HP in Legion, where your luck is instead? You'll take a little bit of a reduction in damage, not that much yet, because you don't have like 600% stat or something, right?
You'll survive the one shot, right?
Well, not the one shot, but with the fire ticks, I could take 2 full ticks before I have to heal instead of 1 tick and have to heal. So if I wanted to use like a single attack, I would just die every time because it would be too long between ticks and I would just get 2-shot. But because of that, I was able to like survive a whole extra body, do a bunch of extra damage, and die much later in the fight, which gave me much more breathing room to like hop around. And that is ultimately, you know, and not having horrible RNG on the phases was ultimately what ended up getting me there. So it is, you know, still like kind of a cooperative effort. I look at the chat every now and then. I do try to do it on my own, but I'm not gonna like not take good advice when it's right there, you know?
Oh yeah, of course. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so in that sense, I usually advocate for a combination of like being part of a community, you know, be it a Twitch chat, be it a Discord, be it a guild, something like that. Always trying first on my own just to see how far I can get. And if I feel that there's still room for improvement, I always have the drive that I want to see how far I can take that. I want to see if I can actually do it. It's very possible that I try like 6-7 times. I'm like, there's no gains here. No one has any real advice or any real clues besides just get stronger forehead, you know? Like, okay, I need to either duo it or go into a struggle run, get the gear first, make a few more upgrades, and then circle back. That'll probably happen with a few of the classes, I imagine. Kadena is probably on the, like, my guesstimation is probably on like the upper 25% of how strong classes are. So I'm expecting it for like 75% of the classes to be worse than with Kadena. Although some of those classes do have extra iframes and maybe ways of immuning, you know. So every class will have its own challenges with this stuff. But that's what I enjoy figuring out. And it seems to me that when you start playing this game because of a friend that you play together, when that friend doesn't play anymore and you don't really, it sounds weird, but like fill that gap with like something else, it always seems like you're trying to go back in because you're trying to relive, right, that nostalgia moment of like playing the game with your friend. But if there's no one else to like keep you coming back in there and hang out with, it doesn't just, after a while that spark kind of just fizzles and you're trying to find that somewhere else. So one thing you could do is, you know, kind of put yourself out there and see if you can make some friends, like in a community, in a Twitch chat, in a Discord, in a guild, right? Stuff like that.
I did. I was part of a guild. I think it was called Cleanse or something, and they were great. Like before I left, but I just kind of have a tendency to like stop playing, and like I don't mean to just stop playing, but then I'm just like, I don't want to log in today. Oh, I don't want to log in today, and then it becomes a week and a month, and then they're like, hey man, like we need to make room in our guild. So I was like, yeah. So it's kind of like I want to join a guild, but I also know that if I join a guild, they run the risk of like losing me at some point, or you know what I mean? Like I know that
it's fine to just be upfront about that. You could just be like, hey, I'm pretty cyclical in my playstyle, like I'm not always going to be around. Is that going to be a problem? They'll probably say like, hey, if you think like you're not going to play anymore for a while, just send us a message. If you think it's going to be like a week, it's fine. If you think it's going to be several months, we'll just kick you for now and then just add you back later when you come back. You know, you just find a guild that matches that demand, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because that's why you have different guilds, right? Not every guild looks at these things the same. Some people are like, nope, you have to log in every fucking day, get your 3,000 contribution.
Oh, no, they weren't like that. No, they were chilled. It was just like, just like when you don't show up for a month, it's kind of like, what the fuck, man?
I kind of gather that because it's not, your story wasn't like, oh, I didn't log in for 2 days and I logged back in and I was guildless. So I was like, well,
definitely
fuck.
not, definitely not.
Because that sets a completely different vibe towards your ex-guilds if that happens.
No, like, I'm not trash talking, like, they were awesome, like, great people. I'll probably reach out to them again, but anyways.
If you left a good impression, it's probably pretty easy to get back in.
We'll see.
Well, the other thing is I also don't want to like glorify playing this game every single day for like several hours and that you like have to, right? There is definitely some kind of virtue to loyalty, but there is an extent to which, and I probably exceed that, to where it's healthy.
Right.
you're owed more loyalty to yourself than to any like computer game or something. So if you feel like you can like find more happiness in playing something else or pursuing something else, then you do that. But I think it's always good when you're at the point of one of these switches, which you seem to have a lot of, to before you do.
ADHD, bro.
Before that, but take a step back and find like, why am I switching here? Am I missing something? Am I looking for something else? And make that more an active decision making process rather than just then grabbing onto that feeling and then onto the next, right? You're kind of like Tarzan swinging through the jungle, just grabbing another vine, right? And you're just like holding onto a vine for a little bit and then letting go again.
Yo, you're cheaper than my therapist.
Oh yeah.
No, just kidding. Yo, this is like we can make this a weekly thing. It's a
yeah. When's it? 3 o'clock work for you? Yeah. Okay, well that's our time.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because this is very much like a passive process. That's just like in the background of my head, so I never really vocalize this as much. But I guess I kind of do the same thing, but like within Maple, I'll move from like 1 to 1. But for me, it's very much just connected to what can I make content for, what can give me a better basis of information that I can help people with. Because if someone has a very specific class question, a lot of times I'll be like, hey, I rolled my face on my keyboard until 200, and that's all I know, dog. Like, you can get any class to 200, and then fifth job is a bunch of flashy shit. Like, I don't. That's as far as my knowledge goes. So I want to be able to do more
well, especially if you do these,
I learned so much already. And I think it's also a cool way to see how people in the chat interact. Some people just laugh at the failure, but people cheer like crazy when I do finally get it, and it's a huge, right? And like I said yesterday, it's actually like that feeling of being able to accomplish that. I don't think it's like required for everyone to solo everything, right? Because I kind of hate the dichotomy of like you either solo or get carried. I don't like that. Like, it's still, even though it plays like a massive single player online role-playing game at this point, it's still designed as an MMO, kind of, right? Like, the goal is still to kind of do things together. So at least like duoing or trioing some bosses, and then, you know, as you get stronger working towards soloing them, it's just beneficial for your own personal progress because you get more money from the crystals. Like you said, like, you can do things a little bit more on your own time. You're not as dependent on other people.
And I can like help other people too. I really like to help people. So I mean, the other day, I think a couple of us in the chat went and did CRA, and like I think we took down Queen and Bon, I think, and then we just couldn't figure out the split. Vellum, we didn't have, and it's just like, I like doing that kind of shit because like none of us can do it alone. I think maybe I used to be able to do it alone, but I was like, none of us can do it alone, and like it's really fun to like, you know, that one guy said it was his like first run. Like that's what enjoyment I get out of the game. So I want to get better so I can help other people through stuff, right? Like kind of same idea. But anyways.
And this is kind of like preachy and stuff on my side, but remember always what you do with what you mean by the word help, because in a way your friends back then, your friend's goal was to help you as well, but he kind of also put you in a situation where you it's not an ideal situation. Well, not screwed, but like it's not an ideal situation. It's one that you kind of have to like work your way out of once that person falls away. So that's my major thing, is like, how can I arm people to become like self-reliant and self-sufficient, not as in do everything by yourself, but be able to find where you can go to get things done and not need to clasp onto me or so whenever a party's like, hey, we're doing a boss, can you join? I'm always very hesitant because I want to join and I want to be in that party, but I don't want to make it, whether or not that party happens, be a part of me. I'll always ask like, hey, is there someone else in the chat who can join? Is there another person who can fill? Not because I don't want to boss. I love bossing with people, but if I go, then I'll always be the go-to. Like, oh, Scardor can join, Scardor can join, Scardor can join, and then then it's always going to be reliant on whether I show up or not. And that's a delicate balance to do, because I want to make sure that people.
Lot of pressure.
Not so much pressure, but it's
expectation.
Yeah, I don't want other people to expect like I'm just always gonna show up.
Yeah.
Because I probably will, and I know that for myself, I probably will, but I don't think that's healthy, and I need to like
Mhm.
protect myself from putting myself in a situation where because I'm very much like helper, so I know that I'm
Yeah.
gonna like not do the things that I maybe want to do, and then do that instead, because it does also give
Yeah.
me a big level of gratification.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
And that's part of the burnout thing, is kind of like finding where your
Yeah.
limits are, and once you
Yes, man.
realize,
Yes, man.
once you're getting close to like realizing where those limits are, you immediately like, okay, pause, take a step back. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? Where is this headed? Is there another situation that happened in the past that's similar? You know, what can
Yeah.
what could go wrong here, and how can I like steer clear of this? How can I avoid this? So in general, just to tie it back to Maple and to burnout and all that stuff, what I tend to do is like when I log in, what are things I enjoy doing in the beginning? Try to just do those. Try to focus on those and make those like the center of your gameplay. What do you usually leave until last? What do you forget a lot? Either do those immediately just to get them out the way if they're necessary, and if they're not necessary, just cut them out completely. Just don't do them, because they're
Yeah,
like holding you back and drawing you, pulling you down.
that actually leads me into another one of my questions is like,
Mhm.
I know that I can go and find an extensive list of dailies, right? But now that you kind of have figured me out a little bit, it's like a daily thing to do list. Like when, like I know when I have lots of time and I feel like it, I'll go and do all of my vanishing journey and all of my bosses and all of my blah blah blah. But like
Mhm.
I log in, I never look forward to doing VJ dailies, like I don't, or
Mhm.
Arcane River dailies or whatever. Like I don't think, I don't know if anyone does, but if you
Mhm.
do, respect. Um, but
I like
like,
the symbols from it, so I'm very, very long-term oriented. So I like
yeah,
having my symbols maxed out, so I never have to do them again. So I just see them as a
fair
necessary,
enough.
necessary evil to get there.
Yeah, it's always the
And
first thing
yeah,
I do. It's like
but
I just don't want to get it over with. I don't know if you feel
yeah,
the same way, but
yeah.
it's like,
I'm working on my 6th character now to max out, so I've
holy,
done, I've
bro,
done
what?
quite a few in my day.
You've done it. You've done it. This is your, it's maybe your second rodeo, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my 6th rodeo, I guess,
That's
for counting.
holy crap, dude.
Yeah, and it gets faster every time too, because there's more events, more free symbols. There's more and more dailies pretty much with every character around. So I have that reference frame of how insanely long it took in the beginning, back when the max level was 15. You know, the level
Oh
cap up to
yeah,
20.
like, and you had to do Spirit Savior every day instead of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that was out yet. Actually, it was only the 3, right? Latch was like the highest.
I don't even. Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah, maybe with the
I was like
arcane.
level 200 barely, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't. So I keep track of like a lot of the changes, but I don't keep track of when exactly they happen and what is connected to
it's
what
okay.
and what the name of the update was. Because I'm also in my 30s, so I need I need to have like
Fair enough, man.
limited
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
space, so I can't be
No
associating
worries.
everything. Yeah. Kind of
Oh
like
man.
feeling that boomer brain too sometimes.
Yeah,
Mm.
man.
Yes, one of the things I like is just I like the fact that you can make steady progress damage-wise just through doing those dailies and without having to spend any money and worry about equips booming or upgrades failing or anything like that. Like you do a daily, you get the symbols, you throw them in, and it's like guaranteed upgrade. I like that
Guaranteed.
part.
Yeah, you invest the time and you get the upgrade. It's not no bullshit. Yeah. I've never gone through like booming because I've never gotten that far because I was just like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't know, but yeah, I agree with you. Is there anything else other than Arcane River dailies that I should be like 100% doing? Like if I get time in the day, like
Yeah,
is
because
that really it?
to underline it, I don't think there's anything you should be 100% doing. I think you should only be doing what you want to do and what is like fun for you. Some people could just get through this game without doing that. If you're literally like, oh fuck, I still have to do them and I absolutely loathe them, just don't do them. Just don't let the game, like this isn't Soviet Russia, right? The game doesn't play you, you play the game, right? You decide what you do. But you have to also remember, like, if you decide to skip out on your dailies all the time, that is going to mean that some content might be harder for you to access,
Yeah.
right? Like you could choose to not do your homework in school, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get a bad grade. Like, it's your
Yeah.
choice, but there's still ramifications for the choice.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
consequences is a little
So,
bit more, less aggressive of a.
well, that's fair. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, like, yeah, ramifications.
ramifications
I like
apply
that word.
some.
That's a good word.
It does apply some harm of some sort, though. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more
Ah, it's
serious of a
okay.
word.
You're gonna die if you don't do your
Yeah,
arcane
that's kind of
reboot
like that
dailies.
would be
That's
a
what I'm gonna write
ramification.
down. Yeah.
Consequences
Okay.
would be like you're gonna be 5 minutes late, but like
You're good.
ramifications are gonna be like you lose your job,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, so I would say symbols are very high on the priority list, but if you're limited in time, and that's one of the great things
not
about being
always.
235 though, is that you do speed up all those previous
Oh
areas.
yeah, it's awesome. Like
Mhm.
I got the 235. I came back yesterday and did my or 2 days ago did my dailies. It took me like half the time. I was like, hello? Like this?
Yeah, and as you
It's
level up
great.
your boost nodes and speed up your stuff
Oh
and
yeah,
get
my
more arcane power as well in the higher levels, you get more bonus final damage there. And
true.
as long as you keep at it, it's always going to get a bit faster. But that's also kind of the trap, right? Like Maple knows this. They set you up for a certain amount of playtime a day at least to make that long-term progress, so you get into the habit of playing. And it could be that one
Right.
of the things that kind of burns you out or that makes you move is that you start feeling like you're not really logging in to have fun and to enjoy yourself, but you're logging in
Yes.
because the game makes you, right?
That's exactly it. Like it takes me an hour and a half to do my symbols on my Lumi and then my Kana, and like I just don't.
Is the con on the same account or is that on a
Yeah, I
like a
think
mule
I
account?
don't know if I linked it, but I have the one of my questions was like gonna be if I should still be making that Kana because it was gonna be an Arcana, but then with like all the changes upcoming, like I'm gonna use it to fund the Lumi, I think. But like, is it still worth it to?
So
Like, I was gonna.
in general, I think kind of farmer, like the concept is amazing, of course. I think it is mainly worth it if you play more hours in a month than you have totem coverage for. So if there's
Oh,
still
I
time
definitely
left,
do not.
yeah, if there's
Like,
still like time left at the end of the month where you're like, okay, I'm out of totems, there's still 2 weeks left. You don't want to be training or farming off totem. It's just really bad. You can take like some really big maps, but it takes some crazy determination and to be able to go like from totem to off totem. Like the difference is so huge.
oh, dude, I can't like. I trained to 235 on
going
my
back
Lumi
is
without kitchen.
Mhm.
Like,
You can never go back
and
now that you
bro,
had it.
my Kana is 225, I think now, and like I tried to train on my Lumi. I got about 15 minutes in. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's
There's
totally
no way, man.
just go. Even
Holy
though in
shit.
general it might be overall still faster than before. Once you've like, and that's like what I always talk about is like what your baseline is, right? Like, let's say that you had
Yep.
100% was like your kill speed before. You do like totems, kishin, whatever. You go to like what is it, 180%? But over
Something like
time,
that.
that 180% becomes your
100.
that becomes your 100. And if you go
Yeah.
back to what would be then the 90%, would it be
I don't know.
100 to
Math.
180 is almost double. So you go down to like let's say like 60% or something,
40.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like slightly more than
Ugh.
half.
Yeah, that's true.
Then
Math is
it just
hard.
it feels it feels like you're at 60% of your potential, and that'll just never feel okay. If you can mentally like program yourself, and I think this is like part of NLP and everything, like neuro-linguistic programming, where you kind of like make sure that you can control or that you program your brain into realizing like, hey, I'm temporarily going up to here. If I ever fall back, I'm just going back to to the safe line, to the normal normalcy. I'm not going to like dangling from the abyss from 3 fingers and like right. I'm actually just standing back on firm ground, and before that I was just like flying in the sky, right? That's kind of the idea behind it, which again that sets me up very well for like dealing with setbacks and dealing with disappointment. But on the other hand, also it makes me very unambitious and very like I'm just here temporarily. Hard to like settle in to like easy to settle into environments because it's like I'm okay with always falling back, but it comes with its downsides as well, where you're not really trying to take the fullest of what's happening because you're like, this is all temporary kind of thing. It's not which that seems a little bit contradictory. Really, but.
Well no, it's like expecting the worst so that you're not disappointed. But then when good things happen, you're like surprised. Oh, I guess it's the opposite of that. Never mind. Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
call it like the
I
optimism
understand
and
what you mean,
pessimism
but
because it's like either you're right or you're happily surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
That's my
does mean that
mentality
you
toward this
very
game.
rarely like take chances, right? You're not really proactive, you're not
Yeah,
really out
well,
there,
you don't
really
want to because
adventurous.
you don't want to be disappointed, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's like
or there's also the disappointment of always being right.
or right,
Right?
yeah.
Because if you're always like expecting the worst and it always happens, then you're like right all the time, but not in a good way, but in a
Yeah.
like nothing
Yeah.
ever goes
Like,
well kind of way. Yeah.
shit.
It's like, oh, next on maintenance is probably going to go long. And that's like the whole Dewey quote from Malcolm in the Middle, right? Like I
Oh,
expected
man.
nothing, then I'm still disappointed, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because he expected nothing and he was right, and therefore he's
And it's
disappointed because
worse.
he was actually because he was actually right. So
Yeah.
that's not necessarily like a catch-all that always is successful, but I think it can be more successful, but you got to counterbalance that with something else to bring at least some ray of sunshine into your life to kind of offset that.
It's like being mindful is easier said than done. Like mindful
Mhm.
of like, yes, I'm using Kishin now. But
Yep.
anyway, so I guess
And in
well,
general,
I was gonna-
with all of that, is like the nail that sticks out gets hammered, right? So you know that Kana is like a WoW class. It does a
Yeah.
lot of insane things. Like playing a class like that, you'll have to always be aware. Like this, like if
This
nerfs
is
are gonna
not
come to
normal.
this game, like I'm target number one. And then yeah, you get a whole bunch of people get super disappointed, and they immediately quit even if they see anything negative about the class coming in. And that's just because they're so clinging on to that baseline of 100%, and going anywhere below it is just completely unthinkable. It's like having to go back from 2 monitors to 1 or something, and you're like, I can't live like this. This is this is cruel,
Yeah,
cruel punishment or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people play with two. I guess, man, I always like think about how hard it was to get to 235, and I'm like, man, if I had to train another character on a brand new account, like the Kana mule or whatever, the Kish mule, fuck that, man. Like,
well, people will start with like Terra Burn events, right, and get like a huge boost.
Oh, I guess that's
usually when people do it, but then it's like, oh, I'll just do that again because I did it before, and like, oh, this is what the game's supposed to be like. Holy shit! And then it's like less than 1/3 the speed, and it's like, no gear. Yeah, yeah. You have to be very aware of those things, but that's how Nexon gets people in, right? It's like, oh, look at how fast it can be. Look at all the shiny, bright stuff
Look
you
at
can
all
access.
the things you can do right now, and then when we fucking flip the switch back,
and then you take
on
it away,
you're
but then you're hooked because you got tastes, and like the first taste is free, and then you come back.
It's a sunk cost fallacy too, right? Like, oh man.
Oh yeah, a lot of fallacies coming in for sure. Sunk time fallacy, or sunk cost is not always fallacious, of course, but in the whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
time.
I have to,
I guess.
Yeah.
Is it? I was gonna use the compensation on my Kana to hit 235 and then do all the boost nodes and get it to, our Kana ready kind of deal. And
oh yeah, because that's what we were talking about. Yeah, with the totems and everything. So I think Lumi's a pretty good. It's still a pretty good trainer, right? You can still get pretty good rates, even by training on the character. So. I like to do a lot of times. What I like to do is like two birds in one stone kind of approach.
Okay.
So like, let's say that we can make like, I don't know, like 50% of the progress when it comes to your experience, and 50% of the progress when you make money, versus another character doing 100% and 0 or 0% and 100. Like, that's not right. Yeah. That's 50-50 wouldn't really be a gain for me. Like at that point, it's all a net wash. But if you can do something where you make like, I don't know, like 80% of the experience and like 80% of the money, I see that as just like a general overall gain, and then I see it as just more gameplay win. And that's why I talk about the, like, I think a Kana farmer is fine, but mainly if you have time left over after you're done with all your totems, because then Kana can just be like a portable totem money-making machine. But unless that, you can still make a very decent chunk of your money. I think like for most classes, somewhere between like 50 and 80% of the money that the Kana would make. But at the same time, we want to make it so that you still keep making 100% of the experience that you usually would if you were training, so that you don't actually lose progress on the main, but you gain less money than the Kana, but you gain all the experience extra. Because if you look at the
Yeah, I
amount of
understand what
hours
you
you put in, yeah, that's I think that's a more efficient way to go about it. Now, whether that's fun for you or not, some classes are way more
mean.
involved in trading, right? I think Lumi is probably on the lower side, probably fine. Just like a lot of
That's why I
teleporting
picked
and
it.
yeah, a lot of teleporting
I
and reflection going on. Some other
yeah, man.
classes could be like, oh, just put the hours into your main, and just like I'm literally getting RSI after half an hour from from this class.
Fuck yeah.
I want to just
One guy in there
semi
played
AFK.
Kaiser.
Hmm.
Fuck. Pretty sure Kaiser's like a give you arthritis after fucking.
Yeah, there's some like jump down teleporting to speed it up kind of thing. If you're doing it, if you're trying to doing it as efficient as possible, there's some extra key inputs from what I heard. Yeah, with that and with the upcoming changes to in Neo, right, with the experience penalty on death going away, I think there's still value in having like another character that can do content.
Yeah.
Specifically, if you're like trying to get items for another character, like you're trying to do Scrapyard and Dark World
Yeah.
Tree dailies or something faster. You know, you can trying to get someone into
Yeah,
into
I mean,
Ebzo gear
if
or
I have
arcane
to-
gear if you get droplets, you know, that kind of stuff. But I think at this point, I'd probably just focus on the Lumi and getting that one
Okay.
stronger, like all around built out, so that you also look more forward towards throwing up a totem and training, because then you'll be making more money, you'll be seeing the same amount of gains and experience, and with the compensation and everything together, I think that could be a thing if that progress is what you're looking for, that you can see something to look forward to when you log into this character. And because sometimes splitting yourself in half with like the Kana and like, oh, that one makes all the money and the Lumi has to do all the experience, and there's a lot of pressure on training very efficiently on the Lumi. And then when you're on the Kana, there's a lot of pressure on like getting those rates. Like, what are your rates? What are your rates? How are you making? What are your rates? And that's like the question that pops into my stream a lot when I'm
perpetually disappointed in my rates on both.
yeah, so when people come
it's
into my
like-
stream, that's one thing that I noticed that a lot of people are very focused on. When people come into my stream and ask what my rates are, my standard answer is I don't know. I don't care. I know that I have my coupons on, I know that I'm doing the best that I can, and I know that this is what I want to be doing. And that's and whatever I get, and that's
a big mental shift.
Yeah, and that's enough
But
for
an
me.
important one.
Because as soon as you're like, what are your rates, and you put a number on that, boom, immediately you have an expectation.
That's your goal.
Yeah, and then if you don't reach that, you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
But why? You're
But
like,
if
why
you're just
would you?
like, "Ah, yeah, I'm enjoying doing this."
Yeah, if you're
that's
having
the
fun,
whole goal.
why
It's
should you
like, yeah.
afterwards feel like shit because you, right?
Because you got
because
3 mil an hour less than the other guy.
yeah, or maybe like you had an extra elite
Whatever it
boss,
is.
or maybe you had to like run to the bathroom real quick, or maybe someone was at the door. And what some people also do is they do like a 10-minute test and they'll multiply it by 6 and like these are rates I need to make.
That's impossible.
Yeah, you never want to do that. You want to do like a 4-hour test and then divide it by 4 and then be like, this much I want to make per hour. Maybe like that's way more accurate than doing it the other way around, right? Because of statistics and you know extrapolating and magnifying pluses and minuses.
Yeah, anyone can train for 10 minutes like straight. But
that's another
different
huge thing. Yeah, you have mental fatigue
know.
coming in after a while, so you have to calculate that in over time. Yeah, but that's the one other extra big value of Kana that I didn't mention. That is a very valid point. Is that when you do have a Kana, you can just hop into it and hop out of it at any time for like say half an hour, say 45 minutes. It's very useful to still make steady progress over long term for people who have very busy schedules or who have small kids. Right, they want to like farm, put in a coupon, then kids start crying.
Yeah, but you don't want to use the totem.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck on a totem and have that eat into your totem every time. So that is an extra circumstance that I didn't mention here. That is a very valid point as to why having that Kana come online could be. So since you do say that you jump from thing to thing and then go very hard at them, I assume that you're not in that situation, right?
No, I can like today and tomorrow I'm off work. So when I'm off work, I can like do this all day. So it's all good. But I mean, my Kana can like I think 2-shot with most things in Latch right now. So that's probably good enough for me to make some money, anyways. Like
yeah, for sure.
So,
you go to like Galinas or the paper masks
like,
and
yeah. So I'm not that worried. I think you're right. And if I'm focused on the Lumi, then I'm only pressured quote unquote to do my dailies on one character, and that's a lot of like time that I can do if I want, but I don't like tell myself I have to do it kind of thing. Like
if there's time left over kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, if you do for
Yeah,
long
okay.
term want to do certain content on this character, because
Right.
that's usually the second question, which is usually like the first 2 minutes of the conversation. Now it's the first 40
Oh,
minutes, but
sorry.
whatever. Is like what do you want to achieve on your character? What do you want to get to? Because that's usually what helps me determine for you like which dailies are important, which ones can you just completely drop, and kind of help you select between that. Like, what do you want to achieve on this class?
So you ever heard of lazy perfectionists? uh, it's I don't really have like a bossing goal or anything like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um,
You have a level goal or a
I mean,
content
I
goal or?
235 was unattainable in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and doing Lomian parties and stuff like that. Like I was in a normal Lucid party. I mean, I was like just golem clearing, but like, that like I've already surpassed all of my expectations for this
Mm-hmm.
game. I mean, I'm down to like try and go for I don't know what
That could be part of it
the
too,
end
by the
game
way.
is now,
Like if
but
you had
it's
some goals and you feel like you've achieved everything, that can take like
I
a
mean,
bunch of drive away as well to feel like you need to log in and do dailies because it's like, why am I doing it?
well, I think that at this level range and my stats and all this, I should be able to solo CRA and Lomian probably. From what I've been told, but
Mm-hmm.
so maybe that should like I think one big thing is for me to like keep going through and learning those things. But I think level wise, like I think that if I level and I like get all the totems and stuff and just focus on like training slash farming just on my Lumi when I have a totem up. I think that that's smart, by the way, because it gives me a time frame of when I can stop in a
Mm-hmm.
way, like
Mm-hmm.
every day. Um, I think that like I could probably like realistically go for like 250 and then see where I'm at there. I don't know if I could ever go to 275, but like I
Oh,
know
that's
that
such a
if
jump,
I get
dude.
close
Yeah.
enough, I'll want to, right? Like it's kind of a I get to this goal and then I'm like, oh, but look at that shiny new goal that I
It is
have.
really a matter of like close but so far away though. If you
Yeah,
look
so
at the
I kind
hours
of
and
want to
the,
really,
yeah.
I really want to focus on like what I'm doing now and not like look too far,
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't want to get discouraged and I want to have like I read on your stream, you're like a big believer in the focus on the journey, not the destination. I think
Mm-hmm.
that is a really good life kind of philosophy and something I've been trying to implement, but
Mm-hmm.
unsuccessfully so
Okay.
far. So that's kind of my goal, I think, in this game too, is not
Mm-hmm.
to like pressure myself, but essentially I want to know the ideal, I guess, progression on what I need to do to become stronger. And I know that obviously I need to go back and relearn the boss mechanics and things like that, but
Yeah, that could
I
be
mean,
one thing to more feel in control of your current situation. Because, yeah, like you said, a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, you should be able to do this. You should be able to do that." Well, again, what does that do?
yeah,
Expectations not
right.
met, feeling of inadequacy. Like that's not a good
Yeah, I got
time.
imposter syndrome, man. Like 235 Lumi with like full fucking gear, like can't solo
Yeah.
clean,
So
like what the hell?
exactly. So start creating your own baseline, like see what you can do right
Mhm.
now, right? And then start going from there and just raising the bar a little bit by little bit and trying to move forward to the next one. And the best thing
Yeah,
to do is that there's no real failure. If you can't kill a boss, you'll learn something
yeah.
from the boss fight. You'll learn where not to stand, you'll learn where to stand, you'll learn what skills are useful, you'll learn what skills are not useful, and you learn what the boss can do. And as long as you take
Mhm.
that with you to the next boss fight, there's always going to be progress. So the only way you can really fail is by like standing still and not attempting anything. That's the
Yeah.
only real failure. So
Mm.
as you saw yesterday, right? And that's what I hope to do with
Oh
the with
yeah,
those videos. I hope to motivate people to just try, because the difference you could make in a
absolutely.
day is like insane. For me, of course, I have much more time to spend. I already have more experience to pull from, right? The difference is
Yeah,
I'm not going to be as extreme, etc., etc. But it is possible, right?
hmm.
Um, so
It's better than doing nothing.
yeah, because I think even if it's just like progress in a video game, there's so much of this is just linked to real life as well. Like if you're in
Oh,
real,
absolutely.
if there's a situation and you just can't overcome it and you don't even see how you're gonna do it. A lot of times, me personally as well, I just retreat because like I have no idea how to even start
Yeah.
that. But start like like compartmentalizing, right? So like breaking it down, like what is one aspect of it? Can I work on that part? Can I work on this part? And then suddenly the whole thing doesn't seem as daunting anymore and seems much more surmountable, and be like, oh, maybe I can actually make some progress here.
This seems to be a very common thing. I had a chess lesson a couple months ago, and the guy was like, you got to work on your like your own like expectations of yourself, and like cuz I was doing the same thing. It was kind of like man, I really want to hit master, blah blah blah, get national mastered, all this stuff, and he's like, slow down, man. Like, I can help you do that, but you're gonna have to spend 12 hours a day studying this, this, and this, and you don't like doing that. So is that realistic? No. And
exactly.
it's true. Like, it's So
that and why do you want to reach it? That would be my first question. Is why do you want to reach the masters? Because you think you'll get something out of it that you don't have now.
Oh, I definitely won't. Like, I'll just like, nobody will care. You know, like, I'll care.
You'll be the person who needs to care.
But like, right. That's it. Like, it's all same as this game. Like, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, why am I spending so much time on this? And then it's like, oh well, I mean, I do have fun playing the game. It's just like, that is the whole point, right? It's not like, how is this game enriching my life? It's not. Nobody cares if you can. You're not gonna get a job because you. Oh, hey man, I'll carry you through Lomian if you hire me. Like,
you could do something, but you'll have to do. Maybe, yeah, but you'll have to be like, oh, but like I played MapleStory, but I ran like a 200-man guild, #1 guild in the entire game, and we had 15 organized boss runs, and like you can get some managerial skills you can definitely develop from it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, like, you know.
Yeah, there's no pro scene for MapleStory. There's no. You can put on your resume that you have a 8K Legion. Like, that's not gonna get you hired. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean.
Now 9K, however, that
9K Legion.
Those jobs are like lining up.
You're running for president or something, man. Like.
Yeah, and 10K you have issues, then you get like
10K,
admitted somewhere.
You're in a home of some kind, like.
You're like rocking back and
forth. Is there
anyone
with 10K Legion?
It's like there's new class coming out. Got it.
Bro,
9.3 is the highest, I think, right now in Reboot.
Is that guy on YouTube who's like doing like 250s on everything?
Yeah, well, Sacred says on non-reboot. I think he's around 9.3, maybe towards 9.4, I think. He's got that frenzy totem though. That's some cheating right there. No, I'm just kidding. That's the small loan of $8,000-9,000. Yeah, oof, those things.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Oh well. Okay, I'll take my frenzy or whatever the reboot version is.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Wild token. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more manageable. So just focusing on just slow and steady progress, probably event-based progress, right? If there's like a training event, go a little bit harder in the training. If there's more of a event that helps out your Legion, you work a little bit more on Legion, something like that. If there's a upgrading event,
How do you glean like info? Because
for events, you mean?
Like the patch, the patch notes are always so fucking long, and like
I do quick reviews of 2 to 4 hours typically. Yeah.
2 to 4 hours. Oh yeah, okay. just tune into
now for just shits and giggles, I put like quick patch note review, and then it's like 2.5 hour video, and then they're like, holy shit, here we go again.
I saw that for the compensation because I came back because I heard about that, and I was like, yes, like I'll watch this video. It's like 45 minutes or like an hour and some shit. I was like, damn, bro, you have like a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Like, but
because a lot of times we kind of also pull into, some people will come up with like other resources. We'll pull those in. We'll look at that. We'll kind of try to tie it in, like what is the game already doing? Like where do you want to implement everything? And then I did make a more specific, like how to use all the compensation. Did you see that video, the shorter video?
Yeah, that one. The less
less dense. Well, more dense, I guess, but more to the point, I guess. Yeah, that's also that's like content that works in a different way, of course, and for kind of a different audience, but probably for the same people as well. Which I do want to make more stuff like that, but it is much more time intensive to make that, because it takes more time to make that what is it, 10-minute video than to read through the whole thing with all of that stuff that's like a 2.5 hour or something. Like the shorter content
Oh
takes more
yeah.
time to make, right?
'Cause you gotta edit, right? And cut
Well,
it all together.
that's even without me doing the editing. It's like making the whole, just first taking all of the information, then taking into account like what it can be used for, all the exceptions, then
Oh,
turning
planning.
that, yeah, then planning that and turning it into a script, right? Then reading the script,
Yeah.
recording it, changing it a little bit as I'm recording it, because you'll be like, oh, that this looked right when I wrote it, but when I'm saying it, it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Maybe restructuring it, then sending it off to a guy who does my editing, which is already an extra help. If I didn't have him,
Another full-time job.
I probably wouldn't even have made the video if I didn't have him, to be honest. Although it did get a great reception,
Shadow.
so might have to revise that a little bit. But he does great
Hey,
editing work. He did the teaser trailer that went up yesterday, which
that
is
was
insane.
cool, yeah.
Really
I
good,
watched
right?
that
Yeah,
on the stream. Yeah, it
loved
was
it. Yeah.
fantastic.
hmm
Yeah, man.
And then like then he has to like render it all, like edit it, render it, send
Better
it back
lock
to
that
me,
guy down,
upload
man.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm giving him all of the videos that he put
Easy.
us a lot of work into. He basically just gets all the YouTube revenue from that,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
he's using it as like a way to because it's a bigger platform than he would start off with, and it's already
Yeah.
like starting with ideas which he doesn't have to come up with, but he can do his own
Mhm.
personal twist to it that he sees fit, and he could find himself in that. And also, he
Yeah.
was just like, he wanted to learn how to edit, so he was already like fucking around with it a little bit.
Oh,
But to
wow,
be,
really?
yeah,
That's awesome.
but he's like kind of figuring it out on the go, and you could definitely see some
Yeah.
videos are maybe there's like some downsides, and then some videos are like way cooler. So he's also kind of like figuring out what works, what doesn't work. So we have a lot of communication on like how are the metrics looking, like when do people tune out of the video, when do they tune back in, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Cool. And now we're working with like someone else who did like a little bit of voice acting as well, which that was really cool. So we're kind
Was
of
that
just
the
trying
guy
to.
who was like, in a world?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, we need some dramatic
That was dope.
intro voice.
Yeah,
So we had
man.
some
Hell
auditions,
yeah.
and we had some people. So we're gonna have some other people doing other parts of other videos as well. So it's got to be just like people from the community and other people from Twitch, and yeah, it's really a fun time. So
Right on. That's cool that
Um,
you do that for the community. So. Right
yeah, and it's the YouTube thing. It's on the one hand, it's like the ad revenue finally, that's a little bit more income, but on the other hand, it's just investment into the stream. So if that goes
Yeah.
towards him, like I mean, yeah, it's just fair because he puts in like at least the
Yeah,
same amount
oh,
of
yeah.
hours or more. Like I'll bring the
100%.
idea and I have the platform, but like without him there, like the whole product just wouldn't be there and it wouldn't be the same. So
Yeah.
it's only fair that he gets like a big chunk of the things.
Yeah, man. No, respect.
hmm
That's awesome.
Um.
Um,
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are now
oh, sorry.
52 minutes
Officially
in.
off
So
track.
let's
Yes.
make sure that you get some more out of this than just the therapy session. Okay.
Yeah, word. All right.
Yeah. So let's see
Alrighty.
short term what we can do to make it so that you can kill all of CRA and be able to duo Lotus and Damien. I think we can get you to that with your current setup. I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And not like we'll just click a few buttons and you can do it. Boom.
Yeah.
But with like
It'll
short
be-
term, maybe like in a week or two, including like practice on the bosses, I think we can get
Right.
you there.
Okay.
So we'll look through everything really quickly. We'll do it on a little bit of a faster pace so that we don't
Yeah.
go too
problem.
much over time, and then we'll circle back to the equips to like kind of see what is there. So we'll mainly just look for short and mid-term, and then long-term we'll just let that play itself out. Let events kind of. Oh yeah, you were like talking gleaning from information, right? So for events, I do make the event calendar.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, probably not. I don't think so.
It's
Is
in
it in your Discord?
No, it's in one of my commands in the stream under events.
Okay.
All
right.
So I basically
Then
make
I
like the highlights, and I like highlight the weeks and like when the events are active, so you can always see like, okay, which events are active this week.
Oh, cool.
And then the
Okay.
events have direct links to the patch notes for extra information. You're like, okay, this event is active,
Yeah.
and then you can read it up real quick and be like, oh, this gives like experience
is
coupons.
fantastic.
Oh, that's kind of nice. I want those experience coupons. Boom, I'll do that event. Okay, what other event is going on? Maple Spring Cafe. Turns out that
Yeah, I
that's
read about
a lot
that.
of work.
Oh, is it? Fuck.
Yeah,
Maybe
apparently
I
it's a
won't do that.
lot of work. Even people with the $30 pass, it's like you have to open
What
50
the hell?
nodes a
Hold
day
up.
or something to Yeah, you can get like a $30 pass to like speed up the progress to get a bunch of the cosmetic rewards.
Nah.
But apparently there's some stuff where you have to open like 50 nodes a day to get max reputation
What
from one of the
the
characters, which
hell?
is pretty hard early on in the game.
Yeah, what the what? All right,
Yeah,
well,
so like welcome new
so
players.
yeah, yeah. Good luck.
You have to Heneho at least 10 hours a day, be a true gamer, really? Is that how that
You
works?
gotta go hard gaming.
Hard
All right, so that's
AFK gaming.
awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
so
sure. I
whenever
will.
there's a patch note, so as an event like rolls out, I hide it so that if you do want to see like in the past I just deleted it, but someone was like if you just hide it instead, in the end what you'll get if you like unhide everything, you'll get like a huge file that has all of the previous events that you can look back.
Lapse of.
Yeah, you
That's
could see
cool,
like
man.
how long ago was this event, you know, like
Wow.
how did things change. So I'm just like hiding everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
one day you'll just have like this big timeline of
yeah, like reveal everything, and it'll be like yeah, like a giant file going.
Scardor timeline reveal.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
I will do that. And,
Yeah, so whenever there's a
once
new
we
patch,
die-
so this also kind of gives us an idea of like when the new patches are going to be, right? Because we can do unhide rows. Like you can see this event is going to last until June 8th. It's like, that's mighty convenient. And it's like 5 weeks, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks here. Well, this is probably going to be the anniversary patch, right? Because we know the anniversary is like right around here. There's probably not going to be like a 3-week patch and then another 4-week patch that didn't really do that. It's more like 5, 6, 7-week patches. And then June, that's mighty close to summer, so that's probably going to be the summer update, right?
Summer update.
Yeah. So that gives us a
that's
little bit
how
of
you
a...
kind of glean the info. I see.
Exactly. Yeah, it gives a little bit more of a long-term view of like when things are going to happen. So with that in mind, you can also see like, okay, summer update, boom, Neo. Oh, so Kana changes to EXP coming from KMS. So that gives you a bit of a timeline and a bit of a deadline as well to be like, okay, if I'm going to take like another month before the Kana gets online, that means that you have like another good month to farm with it in Arcana, and then it's going to have to start leveling above that as well, which means if you want to keep it relevant, more and more and more dailies to make sure that you can hit the arcane power to be able to keep your kill potential.
Right.
So
Okay.
if that's not what you want to do, or if it is what you want to do, then you know, okay, that means these dailies in the short term, these dailies in the midterm, and these dailies in the long term. If you don't want to do that, that means shifting focus to something else in the game. Yeah. And it's kind of having that overview in the back of my head that also helps me stay calm and stay like kind of in control with where I want to go and what I want to do. There's definitely some pressure to be like, okay, I want to train this, I want to train that, there's a bunch of things I want to do, but it's all about finding the balance, setting priorities, and then once you have set those, go with it. And if you find resistance anywhere, take a step back. Where is that resistance? What do I need to alter?
Correct.
And I'm very good with doing that in game, not so much in real life, but in game I could do that.
Yeah. At work, it's like, why don't I want to be here? Yeah.
I mean, if you're unhappy about your job, we could talk about that. But
Oh, that's a different. That's another $30.
Is it though?
I don't know. I mean, we could just bang it out right now. No,
Well,
I'm
how
just
much
kidding.
of it is? How much do you see any similarities with that, with what we talked about already?
Oh, you mean in regards to Maple? Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Like,
because it's
yes,
very
like,
easy
of
for
course,
people to
it
just
links.
dismiss like it's just a computer game forehead.
Yeah,
but as you
but
get
it's-
older, you start seeing more of the similarities abstractly between situations,
Oh,
and not so much
yeah,
like,
I was
oh, there's
joking,
not a
but yeah.
2D mushroom in front of my job, so this is a completely different situation. Like, you learn to see things more in concepts and in experiences rather than.
Actually, I work in a
Yeah.
produce section, so I mean, like,
Oh, shit, there are some mushrooms.
3D
actually.
mushrooms, bro. 3D mushrooms.
And that's a
3D
big difference.
mushroom
yeah.
game, and then I come home and play the 2D mushroom game. You know?
That's a problem. Too many mushrooms. I've got the
Too many.
diagnosis
Oh
for you.
fuck! I've had that problem.
I've got like a notepad and I've got written down like it's the mushroom's fault. Underline it 3 times. Like, usually it's the wife, but in your case it's the mushrooms. You gotta lay off the lay off the shrooms.
Lay off the shrews. Fuck. Best gear progression ever.
Yeah. So it took some interesting turns. Okay, so when it comes to so damage, this is pretty important, right? Like we want to get your character to do damage. That's the one major thing. So the thing I look at, so it's 4 big things. It's your arcane symbols, your boost nodes, your critical rate, and then for bossing specifically, your IED. Like those are the 4 major things to look into. One is just dailies and events, right? The nodes. Sorry, the symbols. The nodes is basically just killing things and having drop rate, so that'll be a little bit more important there, and also events. And then crit rate, we have our own sources for that, and ID, we have our own list of sources for that. So with all of that in mind, we kind of already went over the whole symbols thing. The one thing I will say for symbols that we didn't really go over is that if you don't really look forward to doing certain content, I always find when I'm doing dailies and there's someone in the map, I always ask like, hey, doing dailies? And like 50% of the time they'll be like, no, I'm training, or they'll say, I'm done, and then they leave, and then that saves me CCing at least. So, you know, that's a gain too, because if you just automatically CC, overload your game, your risk of memory leak. So, I mean, as if I don't have to CC, I'd rather not. Or they'll say, yes, I'm doing daily, or yes, I'm doing a pre-quest, and like, oh, you just party up and boom.
You can help up.
Yeah, you can help out, you can make it faster for you, faster for them, you have another contact. I think in general, and this is the same concept of just saying hi to someone in the street. Like, you don't have to start a conversation with them, but if everyone just says hi to each other, you get a completely different vibe as when everyone just kind of just like tries to veer far away as possible from everyone and just create distance. Because there'll be this expectation like, ooh, people talking to me? Ooh. Like, you know, and that's kind of like weird in an MMO where it's supposed to be about cooperation and doing stuff together.
Multiplayer online.
And it's like, ugh, no, other people. Ugh. Like
other people.
It's like, I avoid other people in real life. That's why I'm on a computer game in the first place. Like,
hello.
And sure, if someone's like, I'm busy, or someone's like, I'm on a coupon, or someone just ignores you, that's also a pretty clear statement. Sometimes they can't see the message, but sometimes they just ignore you, and then you just move on. So that's one of the things I also kind of do to see if there's anything there. And sometimes you have a connection with someone and you talk for a few minutes, and then, you know, maybe you have a friend on your buddy list.
Friend list.
Exactly. Yeah. Most of the times not, but, you know, there's an off chance, of course. So that, or you ask maybe in a Discord, or you ask in a guild, or you ask in a Twitch chat to be like, hey, does anyone want to do these dailies? Because I'm not feeling them right now. You do Urda Spectrum together. That's always speeds it up a little bit. You do Choo Choo, like the Hungry Mudo together. That speeds it up a little bit.
I didn't know you could do the Vanishing Journey one together.
Yeah, Spectrum is in a team of up to 3 people, and then Choo Choo is up to 4 people. Yeah.
That is so good to know.
Yep.
That thing's annoying. Can you do Spirit Savior together? I'm assuming not, right?
No, Spirit Savior and Dream Defender are solo.
Fuck.
Yeah, that would be...
Yo, fuck Spirit Savior. All my homies hate Spirit Savior.
Dude, that Spirit would be in the middle of the map, like, who do I chase? Who do I chase?
Yeah.
He splits in half. It's like, oh shit, now there's 2 of them. Oh no.
Damn it.
We had a big problem. We turned it into a huge problem. But that's like the symbol part, I guess, and you get a few of them from training, but that's whatever. The second big part is your nodes, right? The final damage, and that's why the symbols is so big, of course, because those are final damage multipliers, and some classes inherently have a lot of that, some don't, but everyone profits equally from that because it's final damage, which means it goes over all of the sources of damage you have. So it works wonders for everyone. So having the extra 10, 30, 50% in arcane power, that gives you a final damage boost when you're fighting arcane power requirement monsters. And then for your boost nodes, having the levels of boost nodes gives you that final damage multiplier on those specific skills.
So Ender, Reflection, Apocalypse.
Yeah, it's just
straightforward.
Anything, yeah. But you do have Ray of Redemption in there, right? Are you looking for another? Is that Apocalypse? I think.
Yeah, I think I have like 2. I know that I want the 2 perfect ones, but I don't. Like, I want 2 perfect trios: Reflection, Apocalypse, Ender. As far as I'm aware, I don't. That second one on your stream or whatever it was, like, I don't use any of those skills, I don't think, like, ever. So, I think...
Yeah, Spectral Light, Morningstar, Death Sight. It says your like, optional extra node if you have extra space, basically.
I mean, yeah, maybe
I guess when people
like
are
level 275.
Yeah, like 250 plus, like going over 260 or higher, and you unlock extra. You have so much room at that point. It's like, might as well put an extra boost on it in, so when you do use that skill, it does a little bit more.
Yeah, so I think I have 1 perfect trio, and then I've just kind of been leveling up one with, I think, 2 of the 3, I think, like Reflection and Ender, because Apocalypse, I see people like I actually didn't know I had baptism as a skill until like last time I played, I think. And I was like, yeah, it like triples my damage output, like, or some
Yeah,
shit.
it's
Like,
pretty good.
it's
Yeah.
like the best fucking skill that I have. And they were like, yeah, man, like, you don't have this.
Yeah.
So I also like see people who like train and they just always in light mode or always in the Ender's span, the equilibrium. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how the fuck do you do that? Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I, I don't know how you do that because there's always like a solid like 15 to 30 seconds of like dark mode annoying have to spam
Yeah, and there is
apocalypse.
yeah, so it's, again, I'm not a Lumi Pro in any way, but I
Fair
do have
enough.
all the classes at 210 now, so I have a little bit of experience at least. Lumi has seen quite some changes in like the last, well, kind of in the last ever. They've always had some pretty significant changes, right? They changed how that energy thing
Yeah.
works at like at all. They sped up Ender by a lot a
Did
while
they?
ago. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
not Ender. Apocalypse.
Reflection. Oh, did they?
Apocalypse is like way faster now, and
Oh,
also
maybe it won't feel as bad.
yeah, and I don't know if you've teleported around on the Lumi
Oh
recently.
my fucking god.
Yeah, so you can
They
like
they took away
Apocalypse.
my mobility, man.
Yeah, it's nothing anymore. So if you're in what is it in Equilibrium and then teleport, you're just like the Flash on a map. You're like
Yeah, you could like it's like the Kana
Oh yeah, you mean like the jump teleport? Well, you can, and you
yeah,
can double
like
jump in the air, right? With like changing directions and everything during Equilibrium.
oh yeah, yeah, if you go like to the side and then up or up to the side or something.
You can make like well, to
Yeah,
since you're a
like
chess
an
player,
L.
you can do like the horse.
You're a knight.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
knight. Yeah, so yeah, it's a knight in English. Yeah, we call it the
it's okay.
horse in the in that.
No, yeah,
Yeah, the
in
knight
French,
move.
right? Or are you from where?
From Belgium in Dutch.
Is it
Call
French or oh, it's Dutch.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
yeah,
also
yeah.
speak French, but
I think it's like half and half, right? Like
yeah, roughly. Well, yeah,
or whatever it is. Yeah.
the French half is a little bit smaller, but yeah, well, most
Fair
other people
enough.
also speak French because we're squished in between
Yeah.
France and Germany, so we're kind of forced to learn those
To
languages as well if we want to do anything.
pray that they both get along.
Yeah, well,
Anyways.
historically they haven't as much, but that's a history
Yeah.
lesson for another time.
Yeah, so like that's why I have the spectral light or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
that makes
waiting,
sense. That makes sense.
essentially.
Yeah. But there is definitely value more and more now in using Apocalypse. Where I even heard that some people like Apocalypse more in certain bossing situations.
Bossing, yeah. I don't
Mhm.
think mobbing ever, unless it's like a weird like
Well-
platform where you can hit both
mhm.
platforms with Apocalypse. Then it's
Yeah,
actually
a
better.
little
Like,
north.
but anyways, yeah.
Or
It's-
when you have to hit it for a while to get the energy bar moving in the other way, right? And because of
Yeah,
the attack
yeah.
speed, that shouldn't last as long. The other thing that
No,
goes
yeah,
into that is
hopefully
the attack speed, and what I do understand from Lumi is that technically your best in slot inner-ability would be to get that extra rank of attack speed there, and decent speed infusion, and the green pot to like maximize your attack speed output.
Okay.
And that will help you, or at least accelerate your speed and your animations on your skills, which means that you can move around more easily in both
So-
mobbing and bossing.
Inner ability you're talking about? Like I want the
Mhm.
+1 attack speed or whatever?
Yeah. So what I heard from like, if people are like training with it, I think the best thing to get is like attack speed +1 and then 15 meso, which of course it's the highest unique line possibly on second or third line, so that's very hard to get. And then the second best thing would be like 20% meso on the main, and then maybe some drop somewhere else. But of course, if you're bossing, then you would want attack speed on the first one, and then definitely so you want to focus that you have the buff duration line, right? And then get attack speed on the top, and then fill with whatever is useful. I think either magic attack or damage to debuffed or something like that. Would
Yeah,
work fine, I
something
think.
helpful.
Yeah, just anything helpful, which is
Yeah.
what most people can only just hope for on the third line of inner-ability. A lot of
Right.
people look at like, oh, what is best in slot? That's what I need. It's like,
Well-
no. You need to know like what is the most important unique line, and then get your top line with that, and then that's done. If you get anything even remotely useful on the third line, then that's cool, but it's not realistic.
For inner ability, am I trying to get the middle line first? Like
Yeah, so
I'm
the priority is like to get the unique line with a
which
circulator.
is buff duration.
Yeah, yeah, hitting 38%. That can be very expensive though. So that is something in your current situation, since you already have some buff duration on the third line, and it is like a 22%, I believe, right?
I haven't. Hold on.
Of course it is. I should trust my memory. Yeah. It probably, when it comes to both mobbing and bossing overall, it would probably be best to
Chill.
I'd probably be like simplest to like lock that and roll it on 50% off. But we had one not too long ago, and I don't think there's
That's okay.
Sunny Sunday coming up.
Whatever.
Or spend some on circ.
It's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
I just
spend
like
on
whenever
circs
that
on it.
happens, I'll know that I can.
Yeah, just to have that, as an option, like when you do have the money and stuff. Because extra attack speed is just, it's not just, a few more attacks. It's like extra mobility, extra map
Yes,
rotation, right?
Yeah, because
Speed
I
is,
see videos and people are like zooming around the map, and I'm like, how the hell do you one-shot the whole map? I get like half the map, maybe.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
it's
And then your
probably
rates
that.
go up just because of a
Yeah,
little bit
man.
extra speed, getting there faster, killing them just
That's
before they respawn. That can make a huge difference.
attack speed +1's only at the top line, right? You can't get that on the second.
And there's no
Okay.
variance. It's always +1. Yeah, it's only legendary top line. Yeah.
Oh, so you get the buff duration with the circulators, and then you
Mhm.
lock the top line and or you lock that line when you get it in the middle, and then you just like roll and pray you hit attack speed on the
Exactly,
top line.
yeah. And then if you get
I
that,
see.
you just, save up more honor experience, lock those two, and then just pray for anything
Yep.
on that third one.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. That's helpful.
So that with the attack speed plus this plus the green pots and everything should speed stuff up. Boost node wise, yeah, you're just waiting for that other one, which is fine. The downside, of course, is you're looking for like one. There's only two outs now, right?
Yeah.
There's like a reflection and then Ender Apocalypse or Apocalypse Ender. So there's only two possibilities. And I can see you've already crafted a bunch of those because that one's level 15 and the other one's level 8, and you haven't been lucky yet, right?
Yeah. I've used a lot of nodes. I think that like that's one thing where I've just been extremely unlucky, unfortunately. Like where I've been lucky in a lot of things in this game, but like I've been very unlucky with nodes. Like
Yeah.
I haven't hit the set, but like whatever. It's fine. I just I leveled them up because one of my guildmates told me that it's probably best for me to just like
Yeah,
level
start
up
somewhere.
like 3 of them and then combine them when you find the perfect try.
That's
right?
also possible, yeah.
Like,
But for the
don't know.
third one, you want to make sure that it's not one that you're already looking for with the others. So like the third
What do you
one, you want to have it start with one of the 3 skills that would be in the second set of tries.
What do you mean? Like,
So that you don't end up, let's say that you generally just always want to use these 2, right? And that's the goal, to have just two boost nodes and then as many skill nodes as possible, right?
Right.
If that's your goal, then if your third boost node has, let's say starts with Ender, so that you can, and then maybe you switch out the reflection with like a reflection Apocalypse, and then the other one becomes like Ender, and then one of the other 2 skills so that you can get them all to level 60. What happens when you do find your perfect tries, you're either going to have a leveled up reflection or Apocalypse or Ender node that you don't need anymore at that point, because it's going to go over that 60. And then you'll have to extract it, and then you'll get shards back at lower efficiency.
and it'll feel really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be avoided is if you start that third boost node with one of the other 2 skills that you don't need, and make sure there's at least Apocalypse in it. That way, between those 3 nodes, you can get everything maxed, but there won't be any loss. It's just a matter of unequipping it once the other 2 are the perfect try nodes, and just
So
replacing it with a skill node. And then in the other situation, once you do have them maxed, then the other one can just be replaced by something else again with the same top skill, but with the other 2 skills, if you are that high level and you want to move into that. And then there's never a situation where you have to extract your boost node.
Okay. So by one of the other skills, you mean Morning Star, Death Sight, Spectral Light?
Exactly,
Like,
yeah. Start
and
with
it
one of
has
those.
to have Apocalypse.
Yeah, because that's the one you need to have like 6 total running out round, right? If it has Apocalypse and Ender or and Reflection, that would be even nicer because that means you can get a faster boost early on. Means you can get closer to the level 40 boost note quicker. That gives you the extra 20% IED for bossing. Because they're at 33 right now, right? Because so with the extra 7 levels already, you hit that 40. And then once you hit 60 and you go beyond, and once the other ones hit level 25, then you can just do the same again with the third one where you're like, oh, you just look for another boost node. Starts with the same but has the actual ones you want. You just take the level 10 or whatever level it is at that point, use it as a boost node in level 1 and transfer all the experience, and then there's no loss.
Okay. Cool.
Any kind of boost nodes you have that start with skills that are not one of those 6, just immediately extract. Just get them out of there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I don't know why I have all these random ones.
Yeah, and you got 3 Apocalypse ones, so you can level those into the level 8.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You could just use one of those instead. Oh, into the... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, they don't have any... One of them also has Ender, but has like a level... I don't know, like a...
One
2
skill or something.
Yeah, level 1 or level 2, so it's not a...
Those Pogger's first job Lumi skills, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Alright, once your next thing is you're gonna solo CRA, but only using first job skills.
Oh god, yeah, no. Those challenges could be like fun, or like mostly for the viewers, not so
when
much for
drunk.
the person. Oh yeah, where you're like, okay, it's bad decision time. What kind of a horrible?
Yeah.
Like,
what
with
kind
my
of horrible shit am I gonna lock
with one eye
myself
closed and
into?
with one hand behind my back, I'll be soloing the bosses. Like,
on EU ping. What?
yeah, on. Seems like a great time, yeah.
So then crit rate, I think. Oh,
Well,
sorry.
one more thing is that there's a 4th V skill that I don't see here that you don't have. There's another new skill for Luminous.
Oh no.
Yeah. And it's
What
like
is
it creates like a bunch of orbs around you, like light and dark ones, and they all just kind of like fly into the target. I think it helps a little
What
bit
the
from
hell?
mobbing, but it's like mainly a bossing skill.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Let's see
Oh
if
no,
I
it's
can-
baptism all over again. Not like this.
Oh god, what is it called? And that's why you have that
Is it
extra
like-
free slot. That's why everyone got a free slot extra, because we have an extra skill to equip.
Oh, it got added recently.
Yeah, in a week. So
Oh,
in the
dang.
update right before this one, it got added.
Okay, that does. I don't feel as bad then.
Liberation Orb.
Liberation orb. Okay, so I'll just make sure I like craft that.
Yeah, and everyone got the
Cool.
everyone got the skill for free when it came out. But then there was like a period to pick it up, and then if you didn't pick it up within that period, then you have to craft it. So I have so many characters that are all at 5th job that I didn't even get around to logging into all of them and picking it up. So a few of them I had to craft it as well, even though I was constantly actively playing during that time. But you had like 2 weeks or something, and I have like 50 characters. It's like, yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, hell no.
So I had to log into like 2 or 3 characters a day to get it. I was like, fuck that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I don't know how that skill works exactly. I haven't used it yet either.
That's okay. I can figure that out on my own.
Last time I was on
Probably.
Lumi, I was barely figuring out how the baptism of light and darkness worked. So that's
Yeah,
about when I
that
last
one's
played it
pretty-
too. Yeah, it's like you spam
Okay.
Ender to build stacks, I
Yeah.
think, and then you throw
Yeah,
them
and
out.
then there's like some cheeky shit you can do too. Like you can stack it to 11 and then go into the boss, and yeah, and then like you go into equilibrium and you start spamming. Like you can use it and then hit ender once, and then you can like use it again once it like it's just to,
Because
like-
of how the stacks work, if you pre-stack it.
yeah if you pre-stack it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, there might be some stuff with the other skill. From what I saw from the other skill, it's like, so you do an attack and then you create a bunch of orbs and they look for targets, but they have the tendency to like cluster and go for the same target. So for mobbing, if they all went for like different targets, it would be insane. But they kind of like just hit the same thing. So for bossing, that's really good because it's like a bunch of extra damage. But for mobbing, I don't think it's great. So it might be better in this
I guess we'll
situation.
find out.
Yeah, to either use Holy Symbol or maybe get that 3rd boost node involved if you do get something nice.
Yeah.
As for the other skills you have here, by the Decent Mystic Door and the Blink, you can just get rid of those. You can extract those. There's no
Wait,
need
which
for those.
ones?
The-
Okay.
Yeah, the door and the... So those and like Decent Hybrid Body, Decent Advanced Blessing, And maybe another one that I'm forgetting, but those you can always just straight up get rid of.
So I want speed infusion and sharp eyes
Mm-hmm.
and the tries.
Yep.
And then door and baptism. And then this liberation orb maybe.
Yep, liberation orb. I would definitely just craft it and just give it a try and see if you enjoy it. Maybe
It's
if
like
you want to incorporate
7
it.
of them right there. I mean, I need rope lift now because fucking they gutted my teleport and gave it to Kana. Bastards.
I mean, teleport is really fast now, right?
Is it?
On Lumi, I think teleport has never been faster. Yeah.
Oh, bro,
Well, you
But you
didn't play.
can't-
Oh, wait,
you
you
used to
didn't
be
play
able to
before
up
Awake,
jump.
right? Because you don't know about the new skill. No. Listen, wait, have you logged in recently?
Like I logged in like for the last 2 days.
Yeah. Did you notice that the teleport is like way faster, way more responsive?
Hmm.
Because it's
No.
because they made it like a lot of stuff client-sided, including the teleport for
Oh,
Lumi. At least I noticed in the
maybe
least
I'm
that it
not
was
paying attention.
like with the attack speed. I think you can like teleport attack so much faster, like teleport attack, teleport attack, teleport attack. But it might have to do with
Oh.
your attack speed and stuff. So definitely,
Yeah,
and that
get
goes back
those
into dailies a little bit. Having access to the Monster Park potion always, so you can like pick up the green pots and stuff like that,
Okay, so
will also
trying to
help
do
you.
that.
Yeah, so Dream
Okay,
Defender I
Monster
think is a
Park
useful
might
one.
be-
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Monster Park, yeah. Because it also gives you access to the Monster Park medal if you clear that enough times, which is a really good medal to have for the end game.
Cool.
So that connects into a little bit of equip stuff as well. All right, let's see if we can get through this.
Yeah, man. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, the game is down anyway, so. But it's more for the YouTube stuff that people are like, oh, here goes
Yeah.
another 2.5 hour gear progression. Oh god. Hopefully this one is a little bit more fun to listen to in a car ride, a long car ride or something though, because we talk about
Yeah.
some more stuff than just a mushroom
Sorry,
game.
YouTube.
When it comes to Legion and links and everything, is that something you enjoy doing, like working on side characters, or is that something you despise? Or
It depends. Like yesterday, I worked on a Legion mule till I think I got like my kinesis to like level 80 or something. It was pretty fun.
Mhm.
I enjoy it sometimes. It depends. Like if I can, because it's pretty fast. Like it feels fast usually.
Mhm.
But
And it will get faster
Yeah,
after a certain point. You hit that 3K, that's usually a big bump,
I
right?
just hit that. I gotta unlock the next line. I think because I think I just hit that last night and I didn't unlock it yet.
Right,
So-
because you go from 13 to 18 characters, I think, once
Oh,
you
my,
get it.
okay.
Yeah. So every jump after a multiple of 2,500 gives you 5 extra characters instead of 1. So 2.5 to 3, then 5 to 5.5, and then 7.5 to 8 gives you 5 extra characters. So
Oh, wow.
that in conjunction with the fact that the grid gets bigger, also from like 2K and then 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K until you have the full grid. Those two
Yeah.
things together make 3K the first really big bump in general account strength, and that will make every next character you make just go all that much faster.
Cool.
Yeah, so you definitely want to prioritize the crit rate. Make sure that you have enough crit rate, of course.
I think I do,
mhm.
as long as my mana overload is on because of that like weird Lumi skill.
Yeah, because of the balance thing, right?
Yeah, it's
did
like
you see
weird.
that's
I don't
also
know.
yeah, that's also changing in Neo. They reduce the
Oh.
effects of both a little bit, but you get the effects just always passively now. So it'll always
so you
give
don't
you
have to
damage
turn
and
it on.
crit now.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, which is pretty good, because in the past Lumis would be like, well, they would always put themselves to like quote unquote like 115% crit or like 120, because you want to
Yeah.
be still at 100 once you know, if something goes wrong and it goes lopsided, you still want to hit 100% crits. But now it's
Right.
going to be, I think it's 10 or 15% always. So basically
That's
you
better,
get like a
yeah.
free 15% crit. So you can move a lot of stuff
Yeah.
around and dedicate that more to damage instead on the Lumi. So that's a pretty big quality of life on and buff on that skill. You do have 2 free setups now. I don't know if that's since Awake or not. You see the presets, right?
Yeah.
So you do have 2 for free now available. So you could, once you hit the 3K and the
Oh,
grid is a
cool.
little bit bigger, you could make just 1 for your Lumi to make sure that you have 100% crit, then fill up critical
Yeah.
damage, and then do whatever else is needed. Maybe IED, maybe boss damage. We'll see that in a little bit.
Okay.
And then for the other setup, I would just like fill up critical rate and critical damage, and then just connect the two through the middle, and then fill up a little bit of whatever stat your character has at that point. But like getting that critical rate and that critical damage early for Legion mules is super vital for them leveling faster.
Okay.
It's way more important than like bonus experience or anything like that. Just more crit rate gives you more access to your critical damage, and that just makes you kill faster, which makes you level faster. That's super important for new characters.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
you can't
a
get
lot
100% crit rate on a new character though, right?
some you can, but generally no. For some you might need like the whole crit rate thing filled. A lot of characters get some crit skills, like not so much in first job, but like second and third job, and then by the end of third job they might actually have 100% if you boost it a little bit with link skills and with Legion. If you have like, let's say the Phantom, the Beast Tamer, and maybe the Explorer Archer, like you throw all of those onto the character as well as the Legion grid, you can get them to 100% crit rate. I think most of the time by the end of third job once you max those skills out. Yeah, some classes won't even get it in fourth job yet. They might still be struggling. But just more crit rate, accessing to full critical damage is just in general a huge kill speed increase, which will also make it less of a chore to like, oh, I have to do another Legion character. It's more like, oh, log in, get to 100, kill Zakum, log out, next. That's usually how I do it. I get them all to like Zakum level, and then I just log in once a day, kill Zakum, log out.
Zakum level, like 120?
100. You can
100.
Yeah, some characters might be a bit tricky, but you just want to do 100, get your fourth job, kind of like familiarize yourself with the skills, see what they do, and then you should be able to just log in and kill Zakum every day. And it's basically free level 140 at that point. And then 140 is a good sweet spot to stop, because that's when you get your S rank for Legion. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it is when you get S rank, so you cover a little bit more area once you pick the character for your Legion grid. So you go from 2 to 3 squares, which is only +1, but it's plus 50% also.
Right,
so
right.
You have 5 characters, you go from 10 to 15 squares filled. That's a pretty big
there
increase.
You go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of all the little bits coming together. 120 is a good spot.
This game is a lot of little bits.
Yeah. And because, well, the major thing is for Reboot, since we don't have trade and don't have transferring and stuff, the only way you can fund every character in your account at the same time is by working on your Legion and your links. That's how you make every character stronger from the get-go. It's like getting training gear, but like built into the game.
Yeah. That's good to know. Maybe I'll work on that, because my Legion is garbage.
Well, the next 20 characters you get over level 60 are all still counting to your Legion, right? Your 40 highest level characters that are at least 60 will count towards your Legion rank.
Aren't there only 40 character slots?
No, there's 51 now, I believe.
Oh my, okay.
So you can make, and there's 47 classes, so you can make one of each, and then you still have four extras available.
Wow. Oh, so my 2 Kanas aren't in vain.
No, you can just keep those for quite a while. Yeah, you can keep those as backups. You can keep them as mules to like dump items on that you want to save, for example. Oh, 52 slots, my bad, yeah. And then with every new class, we just get an extra slot.
Cool.
Yeah, so we have Kane coming in the summer, so that should give us 53. New Archer coming already. Yeah, I would just make one of each, and just even if you just get it to 60, that's fine, and then just move on to the next one, as long as you're enjoying that, and if you feel like I want to make more gains on the Luminous.
Like, I have like only 25 or 30 characters, so that's like 600 levels.
Well, it says 20. Yeah, it says 20 characters here in your Legion grid, so that means the next 20 that are not level 60 yet.
Oh
so it's possible you have some characters that are like level 50 something. So their levels don't count as all, but if they go to 60, then boom, their 60 levels count immediately. So that's 1,200 levels right there, just by a bunch of little gnomes running around.
4K Legion. That's like
yep, and that's 4K. You get them all to 100 instead.
You can do that in like a couple days.
Yep. If you get them all to 100 instead, that's 5K Legion right there.
Oh my god.
You slowly get those up to 120, slowly up to 140, and with all the characters you have, then you have 6K. You have the full board available.
Yeah, wow. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's really like a power in numbers kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. That's okay, cool. I know what I'm going to be doing today.
Yeah, free quote unquote, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, so it's always finding a balance between like, okay, like, is there easy Legion gains to be made? Is there an event now that's very important? Or is there something I'm actively working on with your main? I think right now in like a 1 week lull when it comes to
Okay.
events, because the stuff going on right now is not really something I want to spend my time on. But we do have
No, not
one
by the
droid.
sounds of it.
We have one droid coming next week, so I'm gonna try to get a
Oh,
bunch of
that's
hearts
good
on some
for,
characters.
yeah, for real. I remember
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, we haven't had
Oh
a Dark
man.
Lords of Darkness event in a while. That would be like
Ooh,
Dark Lords and
I
one
don't,
droids. Those are like huge events that I'm
my
looking for.
totems are shit, so that's good to know.
Do we even have them?
I think I don't even think I have them, but I have like a bunch of like weird the red leaf high totems, but like not
Right.
the
Not
best
even the
one. I think I
highest
have
one. Yeah.
one of the best ones. I think I have one of the like highest ones, and I have like a gold one and a bronze one or some shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
if I farmed you garden, it'd probably be better, but whatever. I
Right.
just
Yeah,
can't
but then
pay
those are
hearts.
temporary, and it's like, and that's
Yeah,
another one of
yeah,
those things. Like, hey, look, temporary damage. You're like, oh yes, and it's like next month, like, hey, remember those totems?
yeah. Damn it.
Do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, word.
So I am always like looking out for those things where I'm like, okay, do I want to
Yeah,
spend the time on these totems, which then increases my baseline, which then will make me feel bad when they fall away again, or do I want to just get used to my current situation, work
yeah.
in that time,
Reality.
and then if something comes up with 100% uptime, just without
Hmm.
expiration, then just get that, and then increase my
Yeah,
baseline with a guarantee that it will stay like that. Like that's usually how I look at upgrades to make. And since there's so much going on in the game already, I focus on those
yeah.
things primarily.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So yeah,
Um.
Legion, a lot of stuff, and then once you have one of all the characters, you'll have like a smorgasbord of link skills to choose from, and
Yeah,
that'll
true.
give you way more freedom to
Get up to 70.
specify. Are you in mobbing? Are you in bossing? Yes, and for the new characters as well, because you can switch the link skills twice per day, right? Let's say that you still have a
Oh,
yeah,
that's good to know.
yeah. You see on the link skills, it says like a 2 on there sometimes and a 1 on the icon
Oh yes.
itself. Yeah, so that 2
Yeah.
means you can switch 2 more times today with that specific skill. A 1 means you can
Okay.
switch it 1 more time. So that
Oh, cool.
means, let's say that you have 1 more switch and it's like the end of the day, it's before reset. Well, end of the day wouldn't be reset for you, right? Because of your time schedule. But like, let's say
Yeah.
that you've pretty much done everything on the character that you want to do for that day. What you can do is switch your links if you have another try in them, like before the reset. Do everything with them after reset, and then switch your links back, and then you can get benefit from them. Of up to 3 characters can benefit from all the link skills, right? Like
Yeah.
from right after
Yeah. If
reset
I
to
get a
2
day off
switches
and like
included. And
I
then you
see.
can, because you put the work in, you level the characters, you're entitled to take advantage of what they can give you. So by setting up your Legion board properly and using the link skills in a smart way, you can just speed up your progress. You have to put a little bit of work into it and a little bit of planning into it, but with that
Right.
you can get way more returns from the same investment. And that's like a mechanic that exists within the game, but unless you actively build your Legion, build your board, select your link skills, unless you actively engage in that, you're not getting as much mileage out of it as you could. So it's good to be
Mhm.
so making that second setup, I think, for your Legion board would be good. You need the coins, of course, but I think you can afford that, right? I don't know how
Yeah,
expensive
I
it
have
is.
the coins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like 300 for this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't think it's it has to be like
Uh,
sub 500. Like my brain, yeah.
so is this good for my Lumi? Like, is like int crit rate, magic attack, crit damage? That's what I want.
So
Like to
if you
build
only
into.
have this grid size, yes, but as soon as we get that level up, boom, you get an extra grid size. So that opens up a lot more options. Like ignore defense when you just have 6 slots available is just bad. You don't want to get like a source
Right.
of 6%. That's like a waste of 6 slots.
Yeah.
But if you get access to 13, that could be something that you need when it comes to bossing. So we'll look at everything else in
Correct.
a little
Yeah.
bit and then see if that makes sense in the whole
Okay.
conglomerate.
Come back to that. Okay.
Yeah, and then boss damage would be more efficient than putting it into magic attack or intellect. So the order
Okay.
would be like critical rate to get up to 100%. IED if we're going to be bossing, if we need it to get to the IED that we need. If not, all into critical damage, and then anything that's left into boss damage. And then if anything's left after that, int or magic attack, basically. But and it would probably be prioritizing int over magic attack at this point because of the efficiency of stat.
Oh yeah, percent int on all the gear too.
Yeah, the magic attack
Okay.
tends to like leave, starts falling behind a little bit because of just how much magic attack you start getting on everything, and that's specifically once you start Star Forcing past 15, you get a lot of magic attack on everything, so it just goes onto a bigger pile, so you kind of get diminishing returns on that.
And then the one for the mules will be crit, just like everything I can in crit rate, and then attack or magic attack depending on what.
Well, crit damage, right? Crit rate, crit damage.
Crit damage, right?
Yeah, those extreme opposite sides there. They put the boss damage and the IED like as far away from each other as possible, and the crit damage and the crit rate also almost. So you're kind of like forced to always go through the middle and save lose a bunch of space there. But yeah, you'll put whatever.
Flip those around, so that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You'll just switch it whatever character you're in, and then in the end game, once you literally have like all the characters, your setups won't be like for the function of who's of what you're gonna do on the character, but it's gonna be for the function of what character it is. So it's more going to be like one is just gonna have all of your intellect characters on it, and then all the luck characters, and then fill up with whatever is useful, and then the other one is going to have all the strength and dex, and then fill up with luck characters, basically, so that you have mages use one preset, and then the non-mages use the other one, basically.
Yeah.
Because there's so much free int, so many characters give you intellect. And oh, so for this, have you seen the links command?
The links command.
Yeah, there's like a big grid that I made with like all the characters in the game.
Oh my gosh, what?
It says all of their
beautiful.
Yeah, it's it's something. It's like it has
Fucking
all of
work
the
of art,
so the clear squares are the link skills, and the green squares are the Legion buff. So I could try to consolidate like all of the buffs that all the characters give. And their value to the account, and then basically comes up with like this priority of leveling stuff in general.
Yeah.
So it might not directly benefit your main character directly, but it will indirectly because it'll help you build your Legion faster, which will then directly help your character. So
yeah,
kind of a workaround. But if you're still in the build-up phase, this is a good way to going about it and to like snowball the fastest.
Experience, buff duration, crit rate, crit damage, etc. Yeah. Those are like the ones you want first.
Yeah, the yellow ones are like
a little bitch.
Exactly. I moved this one up a little bit. This one was more down here, but I moved it up a little bit because even for training it can be very useful.
That thing is like, Luminous has no knockback resistance unless you're in Ender, I think, or unless you're in Equilibrium. That shit saves my life. Oh, beautiful. All right. So that's good. Sweet. So yeah, that'll give me an idea of what to go for. But knowing I can make one of each class is helpful too, because like, why wouldn't I do that then? Give me the most outs. Okay. So that's Legion. Cool.
Yeah, I linked you that so you can find that specifically. So if you're looking for any kind of inspiration on like what do I make next, that's one. And if you I say this,
typing in your chat.
And I say this to everyone as well, as if you do find yourself making character and you just absolutely hate it and you can't get anywhere, then that's just one to you just push it to the side and you make a mental note that whenever a burning event comes out, that's when to go. You just burn that one instead. Like, don't torture yourself with a class that you hate.
Burn? Yeah.
Yeah, well, so characters that are very high on the list of utility for links and Legion, especially also that have a level 3 link, those could be very good candidates for burning. Like, let's say that
that's what I did for Jet.
Like, for example, like
when it had that FMA.
Hell yeah, just press that button.
Hell yeah,
and it just drank MP pots though, right?
Dude, I can't hit. I tried to do Dark World Tree dailies or some shit one time on that character. Oh my god. I can't do it.
That's it's like getting carried by your friend, but then like times 1,000. You got carried by the game.
100%.
You didn't have to do
carried by Nexon.
Yeah, I know. I had the same thing. I had the level 200 Jet, and then there was
never
touched it. There was Maplehood Watch, and I was like, oh, I wanted to see if I can get some Nebulites, right way back from those boxes. And I went to Forsaken Excavation Site, level 195 monsters, and I couldn't kill anything. I couldn't
hit anything. You do like 1,000 damage.
Like 4 or 5 digit numbers.
Thing is so weak.
And
every skill has like a cooldown of like a couple seconds or something. It's so dumb.
Well, they have redone Jet a lot though, and it's actually a good mobber now and actually fun to play. A lot of people still meme about it just because it was so shit for so long, but it's actually a good class now and actually fun. Bossing wise, they still they're playable, but they're still not as amazing. Jet wise, they're still on like the lower tier there, but mobbing wise, they're so much better now.
Is Lumi like the bottom tier for bossing? Like
Well, they
DPS
were
wise?
until baptism. Lumi made a huge shift. In the past, Lumi
Oh,
was
okay.
like top tier mobbing, and then bossing they were like
Yeah,
kind of garbage.
yeah.
And now they're actually like when it comes to mobbing and it's because of how the totems changed and how
Hmm.
they slowed down, which meant that bigger maps became more viable and smaller maps comparatively became a little bit worse. And Lumis were excelling at small maps with fast respawn rate because just with
Right.
reflection they could just constantly dumpster
Yeah.
everything. So they excelled there. So with the combination of the skills changing and with the totems changing, but when it comes to mobbing, they're probably like around average, maybe a little bit above average. When it comes to bossing, they actually started excelling more with how burst oriented the bossing is, and
Yeah.
because of baptism, their burst is actually pretty good. So they kind of shifted in
Yeah.
instead of like excelling and mobbing and being garbage bosser, they're actually more
Did
like
a
kind of an
180.
average mobber and kind of like above average bosser now.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
that was
I
pretty
yeah, I
big,
didn't know that.
very big shift. Yeah, especially since the dichotomy used to be like, well, you're either like a damage dealer or you're a support, or like you're ranged or you're
Yeah.
melee. Like that, those were like the only two options basically.
I
And now
mean,
it's more like, are you a mobber or a bosser? That's more
hmm,
the 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 spectrum, I guess, or like the bimodal
yeah.
distribution that we look at characters from.
Or are you a Kana?
Or you kind of who's just good at everything, yeah.
Kana, yes.
Are you mobber or a bosser, Kana? Yes, yeah, exactly. um,
I don't know how familiars work. I just found two IED ones
yeah,
because my IED was shit. That's kind of,
yeah, no, that's fine.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
unlocking the second slot and getting ID, that's pretty much all you can do until you get to Moonbridge. When you're training there, that's 245 area. They will actually just drop from monsters as you're training, so you'll get a lot of them, and hopefully by that time you'll get more drop
Cool.
rate and everything.
Wow.
And then what you can
Okay.
start doing is you can start fusing them up, and you can go up to epic and up to unique even, and tap into
And
those.
what does that do?
There's like different types of potential lines there that are just super useful, like large amounts of drop rate, which can give you like 100% drop rate that stacks with Legion coupons. So that can get you
Oh,
like
wow.
way more droplets, way more nodes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And more drop chance for bosses, with soul shards and cubes and flames, all of that.
Okay.
There's bigger chunks of IED, like 30% and I think even
Oh,
40.
wow.
And then there's also boss
Oh,
damage that comes in, 20 and 30% boss damage chunks that come in. So once you
okay.
get to that point, you'll start to try to unlock your third
Okay.
familiar slot, and then find a combination between bossing, mobbing. Between mossing, IED, and maybe some healing familiars. For some bosses, having extra healing is also very nice. If the whole
Yeah.
team is like a healing familiar, that can definitely increase everyone's survivability quite a bit, specifically for Will.
Okay. I've never done well, but
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's well. He's level 250, so if you're at
Oh my.
235, you have like access to the storyline, right? But if you try to fight actual
Yeah.
Will, you do like no damage because of the damage, the
One, one, one,
level.
one, one, one.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, because of the level penalty. So yeah, until like 245 is like the lowest where people start like doing some kind of normal Will practice. Mostly like 247, 248, you can start like maybe forming up a
Okay.
party and then trying that a little bit. For familiars in general, I also have like a more in-depth guide when it comes to like how you fuse and how you how you go about like making those higher
I
rank
can
ones
read
and why you
this.
want to do it. And it also has a database of all the possible outcomes, so you see what you're aiming for and what kind of potential is useful to look
Okay.
there. But for this situation, you have 215% IDs. You're fine. That's about the
Till
best you can do at this point. Yeah.
yeah, half a year from now.
The only thing would be
Um,
if you get something with like drop rate on it. That would be when you're mobbing would
yeah.
be better. But
Okay. Yeah. I
yeah, either increase drop rate or increase drop rate by a small amount, something like that. That would be the
I'll
only.
probably be at Moonbridge once I use compensation in that case then, because I'm pretty sure you gain like a whole bunch of levels, don't you?
Yeah.
From
Yeah, everything
I
up
mean,
with a little bit of training and all those potions in, you can probably pretty quickly get to 240.
wow. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, so the other things, okay, I think that's all of that. don't want to like I don't like rushing, but we are like an hour and 40 minutes
Yeah,
in now.
we
So
got to do it. Yeah, no, it's all good.
so when it comes to equips, yeah. So you know your symbols, yeah. And you didn't pick up your compensation, any of it yet?
No.
Okay, so we want to look at what your weapon is. Man, that's a toughie. You have full set, yeah, 3, 4. So you kind of like at that edge where.
I should be going for the Umbra, but I don't. I was thinking of putting it on my jet. As weird as that sounds, and then maybe that gives him enough damage to like do things, but I don't know. No, that sounds really stupid, but like,
I would if you're considering that, I would give the jet first a little bit of other fudding and kind of like get him sorted out and try out the 5th job and see if you enjoy the playstyle. Because I wouldn't put the weapon on first, because then if you don't enjoy the playstyle and the skills, it'll feel like a huge waste, and then you can't trade it around anymore. So if you're
or the Kana.
Kana is possible, but it's mainly so the whole thing with the arcane Ufbra, as I dubbed it, is that the base stats on it are insanely good. It's just so much magic attack, right? It's insane. But weapon attack. But the problem is that the potential is locked. That pretty much lends itself to bossing, or to characters with low crit, I guess, get also a little bit from it. But mainly the potential is just trash. Which is
it's not a good Haku fan either.
No, so it's a bad Haku fan. Yeah. Most value still comes from giving it to your main. So, like, let's say that you have no problem killing monsters near your level whatsoever. Switching it to the Arcane Umbra will probably just give you straight up a giant damage increase. As long as you get like a good flame on it, right? Because like good flames are important.
Yeah, I don't know what a good flame is, to be honest with you. I just
okay, we'll try to crash course that as well.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I can Google that. Don't worry.
So that's the well, I have a flame video, so we can.
Oh, sweet. Okay, yeah, I'll watch that. I'll go and watch it after. Don't worry.
There you go. Flames. We'll just give you a bunch of homework, you know.
Yeah, dope. Weed. Thank you.
The main thing, yeah. So with the weapon, that's a bit tricky. I would probably. So, I'm trying to, give the advice from your point of view. Like for me, if I had this on the Lumi, I would just not put it on the Lumi. I'd put it on another character that I enjoy, that I like the 5th job in, and that I might want to also do like CRA bosses with on a weekly basis, just to have something else to play on the side, and I can get some crystals and sell that and get some extra soul shards, get some extra flames and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be something that I would be looking forward to. But if you play kind of cyclically and you have like one character basically that you have all of your hopes invested in, I think it probably is still pretty good to get the Arcane Umbra here. It won't be as huge of an upgrade compared to what you already have, but it'll still be an upgrade because it's just such an insane amount of magic attack. It's kind of up to you. It's not as crazy again because your potential is actually really good compared to like everything else you have. Your potential is like really good on your weapon. And the fact that it doesn't have any percentage magic attack on the fake Umbra that's a major detriment there, because that stops you from scaling further as well.
I mean, I do like the Kana enough to use it as like a second CRA character. Like I like playing it. So maybe
you could give it as the main fan, as on the Kana, and then whatever the main fan is now is probably better than the Haku fan, so you can swap that out.
It is.
Yeah, so it'll be like an across the board upgrade. You could do that.
I don't know. Because I just don't know when I'm ever gonna upgrade this weapon that I have, because like honestly,
well, you'll get it to like 17 stars, right? When there's a 5 to 15, you get it to 17, and then you just wait there.
Yeah, so like, and that will probably be equal to what I would get now anyways, right? With
probably will be around equal, yeah. It might be like a little bit less, but not enough less to warrant, I think, just completely discarding this.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so in general, looking at all this stuff, so Flames, check the video. I'll make some references here, and it'll link to everything that you will see in the flame video. And then star forcing and potential, right? That's like the three major ways that we look at all the items. Flame-wise, you kind of just like go along. If you find some boss flames, some flames from bosses, sorry, or you get a bunch into compensation. There's also a lot of flames in compensation over how much you spend in the last 2 years. You're getting basically all the flames back.
Wow. Okay.
So that could be a huge amount. They're currently.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either. I got almost 14,000, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't get that many. But...
No. You can get like it's 1 point per powerful flame, 3 per eternal, and 5 per black flame that you want to get.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's still a lot. That's still like that's still over 4,000 Eternals. Yeah. So a lot of people are like smegaing some crazy items right now because they just threw like 400 Eternals at some item and they get something crazy. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's now easier to get that. It just means that there's a huge influx of flames and people going crazy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why not?
So
Cool.
when it comes to flames in general, I just save up flames. Once the first one starts flashing, like you log off and it's like, hey, this flame is about to expire. It means it's expiring in 24 hours. Then usually I just grab up all the flames together and just look at whatever has the lowest flame score, which basically means compared to how good you want things to get, and the video will talk all about this. There's like a general guideline of like what you want to aim for depending on what level you are and depending on how good the item is. There's a certain score between all of the relevant stats on the flame that you want to aim for. So whichever item has the most room to grow towards that number, basically, that will be like your priority of flaming. And then you just take whatever is the lowest and you just start flaming that with the flames you have. And if you ever, if you're either really close to what you got and it surpasses another item, or you have like something that's okay-ish and you're almost out of flames, then you just hold there and you just repeat once you get another flashing flame, basically. And if you surpass another item, you just move on to the next item, and then you just slowly, gradually get everything up to an acceptable level, basically. So that's something you kind of do on the side. You don't really actively spend money on that. I would only actively buy flames and go hard if it's either for a weapon, because that's huge gains, but yours is already fine. If it's for an item that you're going to transpose and it's like the next logical update and you don't want to just hold yourself back and wait for years until you get the right flame, right? Let's say that everything is around 17 stars, everything kind of has good potential, all the flames are kind of fine, and you're looking for transposing on the Papulatus mark if you get one, or the Dominator pendant into the Sweetwater pendant as your next upgrade. You're really quiet. Are you familiar with all of that upgrade path and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know about the Dominator pendant or whatever it is. Like like I'm assuming I'm taking that on my Lumi just because it's a Dominator pendant. I don't know.
So that's yeah, you can't transpose that one. No.
Yeah, I'll figure that out on my own too. Like that's fine.
Yeah, basically that all comes into play once you have like full superior. Everything's like 17 and legendary and stuff. That's when you start looking into transposing as well for the second pendant slot. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, they changed the set bonus for the superior Golux. How it works, you have to have one of each piece equipped now. So it has to be an earring, a belt, a ring, and a pendant.
A belt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't use.
You can't use the other earrings and then just double pendant it. Doesn't work. Or use another belt and double pendant. You can't get the full set bonus
there,
that way.
Because I'm pretty sure I have.
You have 5, I think,
that
right?
Way. Yeah, I might. I think I have 5, but I think I equipped one reinforced pendant just because it's a better.
Yeah, because the base stats of the pendants aren't insane. Like, they're good, but they're not insanely good. It mainly just comes from whatever is the highest Star Force. So that's why what people do is they go for a high Star Force, high Flame Score Dominator, and then get it to 16 stars and then transpose it into the Sweetwater because it's easier to get backups for Sweetwater with just more Dineros, and because it's higher level, you get more stat per Star Force gained, and because it's over 160, the potential lines go 13, 10, 10 instead of 12, 9, 9. So because of on those 3 bases you can make a gain, that's why people do the transposing and use that instead.
Okay.
So that's mostly, more min-maxy stuff like later on.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And the other thing with Golux that changed is, I don't know if you have done Golux in a while.
Yeah.
He's way harder now.
Yeah.
He's
I
on
used to be able to
roids.
do the Helix, and then
Yeah,
I went
no.
into Helix, and I cried. It was
Yeah,
no
if
fun.
you're if you're not sure if you could like solo CRA, then Helix is like a that's an all other
Yeah,
can
yeah.
of
Even Hard Lux is kind of like
cobras.
tough now. I don't
Uh-huh.
know, like
Yeah,
what the
Hardlux
fuck's
is
happened there.
basically at the same level as what Helix was before. Like I
Oh,
think even a
okay.
little bit more,
Yeah,
but then Helix is
yeah,
just
but
like another.
I can't stand on one side and hit reflection anymore.
No,
It
no, he
sucks.
just breathes all the way to the corner of the map. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
not
actually have to
having any of that.
fucking turn my brain on now. Damn
Hmm.
it.
Exactly.
All
Yeah, you
right.
have to engage a little bit more with the boss fight. Makes it a bit more challenging, but I think for new people
That's
who
good.
don't have that reference, it does.
Makes
I
it more
think it
fun.
when it comes to the balance with how good those equips are, I think it makes sense that it was made a little
Oh
bit harder
yeah.
because they were so good.
Oh yeah.
And like
Oh
KMS
yeah.
doesn't even have them at all, you know, and to have them so
Oh really?
accessible, so ready.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
this is like stuff that KMS doesn't have. They use those boss accessory equips like the Dominator and the Mechanator Pennant. That's like their endgame stuff.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
it's another level of of problems that we don't even realize is going on. And that's what the game is also based around. So we have like a bunch of and they don't even have familiars either, right? Like that's a bunch of stuff that we have that don't
What?
even have access
Oh,
to.
that's why they took away those potable badges, right?
It probably also, yeah, they did never had that either, yeah.
Because they never had that. Yeah.
It's a
Do you
bunch of
think they'll
stuff.
take? Anyways.
The
Wow.
they'll take what?
Like, do you think they'll take away like familiars and all that, like they did with the?
Well, they've recently revamped the familiars to what they are now, so I think that pretty much means
Oh,
it's there
that's
to stay.
okay.
At least for
Well,
a
that's good
while.
at least.
It'll depend. If KMS deems that there's too much stuff here and it's like too off balance compared to what they intend, then they might strip us from some stuff. Yeah, I think it typically goes in conjunction also with content that's either problematic because it gets abused a lot, or it has just a lot of issues. Like if there's a new patch and they have to work a lot on making sure that the new content fits with the existing content that isn't in KMS, and there's a lot of extra work that goes into that, and it's also a problematic area, and maybe it has some content that people don't want. That's the whole problem with what happened to with was it Malaysia or Singapore? I always forget. I think it's
Yeah,
Malaysia, right?
I
With the
think it was
ghost ship.
Malaysia.
Yeah, because
Oh
it
yeah,
had the
that's how I
badge.
got all my ship funded.
Yeah, like it had the badge,
Fucking
it had like a
bypass.
lot of botters in there, and
Oh
the content
yeah, it was
slowed down
awful.
all the updates by like 6 weeks, I think, 5 or 6 weeks extra work.
Really?
After they removed that, we caught up 5 to 6 weeks to KMS updates. It was pretty crazy, because I
Wow,
was keeping
that's
track of like how far behind we were, and we caught up by about 6 weeks. So that's pretty major if you think how much work is actually being
Yeah.
saved by just getting rid of that content. So in general, for progress, nobody likes losing stuff that they have, but in general, I think it was the right move
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty unpopular
Yeah.
opinion to have, of course.
I mean, it makes sense from like a game point of view. It
Yeah,
sucks
the whole
'cause
situation
everybody's
with
like,
the badges specifically should have been handled better, of
Yeah.
course. Like just
oh, for sure.
a memo
but-
saying like, hey, because of these issues, we're getting rid of the area, and because of balance issues, we are okay with removing the
a
badges.
lot
and-
of, I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of things that Nexon does could be probably handled a bit better, but
Yeah.
and like would be taken better if
Are
but,
you referring
that's-
to any situation specifically right now, or?
no, I do not recall saying snakes.
No, no, no way! I would never say. I would never say snakes.
I
in the
would
grass.
never said insinuate
You're
something.
putting words in my mouth. Yeah. So the other, so the WSE is
Oh, I've
important.
been banned. I'm
So,
just-
oh wait, are you unable to log in?
Oops.
What? The other thing is that there's a huge potential gain here on your secondary.
Oh. is it?
Boss damage
Okay.
is nice. 40% boss damage is really nice, but the other two lines are doing absolutely nothing for you. And since
Well, Lumis don't
bossing,
use Dex?
no, last time I checked,
Oh,
you have to
okay.
be like, I don't think you throw your cotton swab out there, which this is the reason why you don't use cotton swabs in your ears, guys. You get blood on the tips. Okay, don't do it. You're gonna perforate your eardrum.
Yeah,
That's not what they're for. Okay.
that totally looks like a Q-tip. Oh
Yeah,
my god. Awesome.
Yeah, I can't unsee it now. You're gonna be running
Nope,
around
I'm
with
screwed.
like.
You've ruined it for me. I'm maining something else.
It's one of
I'm
those
maining Jet.
what do they?
Confirm.
It's like you have like wrestling on the water, right? When you have like those giant Q-tips, you try to knock each other off like
Yeah,
a pedestal.
like you, yeah.
That's
I
kind of
don't know
what they
they're
look
called,
like.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably call them
You
like
beat the hell out of
foam
each
Q-tips or something. Like it's like a pool noodle, but then
I've
with
done that. It's fun.
Oh yeah, I bet it's
It's
hella fun. Yeah.
oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
It's like the thing swinging around. You have to jump over it, and then people get
Oh
like
yeah.
knocked off, and they
It's like on
ragdoll.
Wipeout or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so the Karma Orb
Okay.
is like huge gains for you. I would aim for 2 lines of magic attack probably, but I haven't looked at your ID yet. Fatal Flaw here. Okay, so you're at 90% on ignore defense.
I think that's
Visually?
low because it used to be 94 or something or 93. I don't know what I'm missing.
Is this
but-
with your familiars out or without?
Ah, that's a good question.
Well, you can't check right now, so.
Oh, I could. Oh,
Because
I
think
mean,
the game is still down.
I'll. I think
play
it's
it.
with them out.
PogChain?
So
Oh, maybe it is up actually.
yeah, I think it is up. Yeah, I just like
Mm-hmm.
clicked on it, so whatever. I'll figure that out. But
Oh, it's up. Okay.
I know it's not with heroes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the heroes of. There's one skill that I have to stack, so I spent time stacking it, but then the
Right,
timer ran out
Freud's.
on this one skill, heroic emblem. It's one of my hyper skills or something.
Oh.
So maybe that gives IED. I don't know, but it's only like it's like a.
That gives ID. Oh, hang on. What?
I don't know if it does. That's the only thing I can think of, unless something changed. But or I don't have my familiars out. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you have Freud's as a possible skill, but
Mm,
I don't think that one gives ID. I think it gives percentage damage and like a giant iframe as well.
no, I don't think I have that. If you
It's
go
like
to
a
my
it's like a red
my
dragon
B
wings.
matrix.
Yeah.
Or no, is it B matrix or is it the skills it's in? I
Yeah,
think I
this one, the
pa-
passive
pasted
skill.
it.
Heroic memories, equalize.
Yeah. Heroic memories. I don't know if that. Oh shit! I guess you can't hover it. Come on.
If only we could do that, like smart
Jake.
screen for. But we have the we have the Googles.
Classic. Oh, that's true. We
So
do
we
have
can-
Google. I guess I could have done that. That's.
I think that's just a 10%. Yeah,
Classic
max damage
use.
plus 10% damage plus 10%.
Okay,
That's
well
just
that
that.
doesn't do anything. All right, never mind.
And the equalize, I think, just puts you in equilibrium, right? And then
I
Armageddon is, I think,
so.
iframe and bind.
Reading not my strong suit apparently.
Well, maybe reading is, but like retaining the information you read, maybe,
Yeah, that's it.
or like
Oh, yeah,
recalling
skills
it
are-
on demand, maybe is.
Here, I'm logging in now, so I could probably try and figure out. I don't think any of my skills give IED, but I think the familiars do.
Yeah. So
it
for
must be
ID
with them,
and
right? Anyways,
yeah, because we're like at the 2-hour mark
Yeah,
now.
for
So when it
sure.
comes to IED, there's like specific resources for all of these things. The main thing is to be exclamation mark progression. Like this is the thing to try to aim for, and you'll probably just see a whole lot of things that you can't measure up to because A, you haven't been playing the whole time, and B, because the things that you do have, you got through getting carried, so you probably didn't meet the quote-unquote requirements to get to that point in the
Right.
first place. So you're going to
Yes.
see a lot of stuff to do, and depending on where you have the most room to grow and where the stuff that you need to do to get there seems the most fun to you, that's where I would start. So it seems that you have a pretty you're looking forward a little bit to getting to Legion because that is a lot of room to grow there, right?
Yeah.
So I would start
Yeah, for
there.
sure.
There's a lot of IED, crit rate, crit damage, boss damage, all of that stuff that comes from Link skills and Legion. So I would start there and then see how much that already gets you to where you want to go. And then if there's still room to grow, then look where there's something you want to do somewhere else. That'd probably
Okay.
be the way to go. Some things, every single thing individually on this thing has its own command again. So like when it comes to crit, there's an exclamation mark crit, has two commands, one with all of the sources of crit rate, one with all of the sources of critical damage, and it just you just pick the ones that you have closest access to and ones that will help you the most, and then start there.
Yeah, it is with my familiars out. Yeah.
Okay.
So, oh, you know what? Maybe it was from the guild skills. Maybe that's how I got it
Guild skill-
last time.
Maybe I don't know. No, you probably didn't have that, but there are like event titles somewhere that do that as well.
Oh,
That can
yeah.
increase
Whatever. Okay,
Those
so
stats
it's
can
90
expire.
though. So that's
90 visual is
yeah,
not bad.
crit
So when it comes to IED though, one more important thing. Oh god, you said your maths weren't that great. Are you familiar with how ID is
Know how it works. I've
calculated and how
watched
that
your
works?
progressions.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you want a bunch of big, or like a few big sources rather than a bunch of small ones, right? That's
Yeah,
kind of
essentially. The further you go, IDs becomes like really, really good, like always, but there's opportunity cost. So if you get ID, but it goes at the cost of something else that also gives you damage, then you have to kind of weigh those things. But if you can get any ID, excuse me, at like barely any expense, then that's like, when it comes to bossing at least, that's like brain dead, boom, get it, go for it. Yeah.
for sure.
Um,
Okay.
so there's a difference between functional and visual IED. Have you, is that clear? What I mean with that?
I don't know what the functional would be. I think it's like 2 or 3% higher than your visual, right? I
Probably,
don't know
but it
why,
depends per
but
class. Yeah, so it's because your visual in your window is whatever skill you use on whatever target. That's how much ID you will get when you launch the attack. But the ID that actually gets calculated is what happens on hit. So if there's a
right.
skill that gets a specific skill that gets extra ID, like the boost nodes we talked about, or sometimes the passive hypers, right? I don't know if your class has any that
Yeah.
do that. But some
I
of those can
think
give
we
extra
have something.
ID sometimes.
No.
No, I think you only have range damage
20
and boss damage.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you
it's
don't have
range,
anything there.
max enemies hit, and damage.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, once you get the mage link skill, if the boss is debuffed by any kind of other character, right? All of these things can apply on-hit effects, and the on-hit effects are what determine what the actual functional ID is that gets calculated into the whole thing. And what you want to make sure is that you have everything that's 100% uptime, that those are the numbers that you're taking into account for your calculation of, do I need to get more ID, do I need to work on it, or do I have enough, right? That's the important part to dig into it, because that will balance out how much more ID do you need to get, and therefore what kind of opportunity cost is like acceptable, and where is it better to take like a bunch of boss damage instead, right? Because when it comes to your Legion grid, you can choose where to put it, but that depends on how efficient those points are going to be. For someone, maybe in your situation, for most bosses, it might be best to just put it in boss damage, whereas for a certain boss, it might be better to put it in IED instead. So in general, there is an IED calculator. So if you check the IED command, it links a bunch of stuff like how IED works, and then it has like a list again with all of the sources, and then it has a calculator where you can put all of the sources in, and it'll tell you what your functional IED is. And then that's the number that you want to aim for. With that number, you want to aim for something like around this mark in the progression grid, because that is taken into account how much damage gets reduced from the defense that bosses have in that stage of the game. Yeah. And it also takes into account the opportunity cost of sources a little bit. That's why it does still change near the end game, even though the defense of the bosses stays the same. And some of this has to do with like higher level familiars and stuff, right? Which are not very accessible in the late game, but towards the end game, you'll have a bunch more familiars there. So you can be a bit more demanding with the sources there. You might upgrade your 15% ID familiars to 30%, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So Lipton said Ender has 40% ID built into it, so that's useful.
That makes sense.
That's not 100%, right? But if
no, but yeah.
So let's say in a hypothetical situation, yeah, exactly. Like let's say that you do 90% of your damage in equilibrium or something. It's probably not true, but let's say that happens. And then during equilibrium, you always you can spam Ender, and Ender has 40% IED, and it's the skill that does like 90% of your damage. Let's say it's probably not that much because of hyper skills, but then you can functionally kind of err on the lower side, because you know that that's like in the purview. However, if you have one skill that is like, 10% of the time you get 20% more IED, and that activates in half the cases, you can't count that at all. Like that's nice and everything, but you can't count on that. So then you want to err on the higher side.
So realistically, I'm probably good on IED, because
I think
realistically, yeah, I'm probably at the lower end of the 92 to 95, but like that's fine with me for now.
Well, because of how it's calculated, once the boost nodes come in, you get 2% of the missing 10%, right? So It's also possible that it's rounded
Okay.
up. You could be at like 89.01 and then it'll show up as 90. So that's
Oh,
why it's always a good idea to just do the calculation once. Not only to double check if you know if you're on the lower end or on the higher end, but it also is good to double check to make sure that you know what all of your sources are. Because if you do the calcs and you're like 5% short, you know that there's something in the game that's active that you're actually missing out on, a source that you're not aware of. So it's good to kind of fit the puzzle for yourself so you know what your situation is that you're dealing with.
then I won't have another baptism moment.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or that new skill that since Awake came
Or,
out
yeah,
that you'll
the
be able
orbs.
to
Alright.
you'll be able to jump into. Yeah, so redoing it. So since you're fine on IED, I wouldn't look for any IED. Any class that wants IED, and I think the main thing is because you already have the Gollux set bonus. Most people at your level wouldn't have that yet if they're starting, like if they started recently, right? Because of how
Right.
hard Gollux is. And
Yeah.
how expensive and rare those drops are now.
Yeah.
With that in mind, so you don't need a line of ID on the emblem, so you're good there. For the secondary, I would aim for just 2 lines of magic attack. If you hit a line of boss and a line of magic attack, that could also be good. But even just 1 line of magic attack there will help you a lot.
Okay.
After that, since I think it's a good idea to focus more on making your Lumi like kind of self-reliant and not rely too much on the Kana for like income there. I think it's good to have a full, what I call like a hybrid drop set. So you get like 4 lines of Mezzo, right? Because you can get up to 100%.
I think I have that. I think I have 80% drop, 100% meso on these like bottom 8 or something like that. Oh, maybe not the one ring, but.
Well, I see 1 line of Mezzo and then a whole bunch of drop.
Good crap. Oh, okay. And then maybe in my equipped gear, I think I have some. Yeah, that pendant, the reinforced pendant on the has a drop or a meso, I think.
Yeah, it has drop as well. I think you have a lot of drop, but not too
what
much
the heck?
Mezzo, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I'll have to look at that then.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I would go for. So you
Alright.
have 9 accessories that can get the special lines, right? And I would aim for 5 with Mezzo, 4 with drop. That's a good baseline because then you can have enough drop rate to make sure that you always drop a bag. You get a little bit more nodes, a little bit more droplets, that kind of stuff, and you get the max amount of money per bag. And that's a very solid foundation to start off with. And that way you won't really get that much less money compared to and because if we logically built everything up, if everything else that we talked about is like in place, the boost nodes, arcane power, legion, all that stuff, then you can reliably just switch into like drop rate set and not really lose kill speed. So that means that you can still make like 60 to 70, sometimes even 80% of the money that a Kana is going to make, but you make 100% of the experience versus 0% of the experience when you're on your Kana. So like the whole 2 birds, 1 stone is definitely going to hit very hard.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would focus on re-rolling the item drop rate items that you have that don't also have a line of intellect on them.
Fair enough. I think the Blossom Ring might be the only one that has both, but yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Might be. Oh, there's a cracked Gollux earring that also has drop and intellect, I see.
Okay, cool.
And Blackgate Mask also has intellect.
Oh, okay. So yeah, then those 3 I'll keep, and then all stat. Okay, so those are the ones I'll keep, and then I'll re-roll whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
Ideally you want to end with I see some all stat there. Ideally you want to end with like 9 items that have either Mezzo or drop, 5 Mezzo, 4 drop,
plus,
and then an all 1 line of intellect. That would be ideal because then you still get like 80%, 81% intellect just from those equips, which of course helps not lower your kill speed when you're switching to items with inferior base stats, inferior star force, inferior set bonus.
I definitely notice myself having to swap out like when I'm doing dailies because I can't do dailies in a Sphera without my damage gear usually, and it slows me down if I get drop quests. So,
I see.
Fair enough.
Do you have the spider familiar from a long time ago? Do you have that one?
Oh wait, I can check.
The big spider looked like a bumblebee.
I mean, I should. I don't know where to check that, but oh no, well no, because it got deleted, I think. Oh, unless... Oh, no, hold on. Yeah, yes, I have 3 of them, and they're all blue.
Yep.
I don't know what that means. But
Yeah, that means that they're rare. That's a rarity. So whatever
okay.
lines you get now on a familiar doesn't depend on which monster it is, but it depends on what the rarity of the familiar is. So
Okay.
that's all explained in
So
the
I could
familiar
use
guide as
2
well.
of those.
Well,
Okay.
I'll send you a link now.
Okay.
This link is about stacking with drop rate, how it stacks with different sources and within sources and about familiars. Basically, what it'll explain is that like when it comes to familiars, whatever is the highest quality line will apply of all the types of lines, basically. So if you use 2 spiders, they're the same quality lines, so only one of them will just work and the other ones won't.
Oh,
So
is
just
that also for IED? So should I have
no, that's
only
not
one
for
of those?
IED. That's
Oh,
just
okay,
purely a
just for
drop thing.
drop.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I should keep an IED and just put 1 spider.
Yeah,
Like if
you
I'm
use
gonna do that.
whatever
Okay.
other familiar you have that has a lot of defense stat on the card, because the more defense you have, the slower your familiar gauge will deplete. So you can
Oh,
keep your
interesting.
familiars out for
Okay,
longer. Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
So yeah, so with that drop, you'll definitely get more items to drop and everything, and you can also stack the link explains that as well. You can stack it if you want, and if you have enough coins with the Legion drop rate coupon if you want. So if you're doing like a training session, you can definitely, squeeze everything in there. You can get like wealth acquisition, experience accumulation, all of the experience coupons you can think about, monster park buffs, all of these drop equips and everything. Like throw it all into
Yeah.
one big session. There's triple experience coupons in the compensation and everything, right? So there's a lot of
Ooh,
stuff.
damn. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Nice.
throwing all of that stuff together
Alright.
will definitely
Oh yeah, I remember you said that.
with the level up pots. Yeah,
Wow.
the best coupon is
Whew.
DCing. Yeah, so the best thing to do is just like find a. If you
The best coupon is DC.
is
I
yeah,
feel
if you
that.
find a channel after you've already CC'd 15 times, sometimes it's better to just log out and then or like completely just close your game, log back into the same channel, see if it's still free, and then pop all your coupons and start, because you might have already built up like DC potential just from CCing a bunch of times. And nothing is
really?
worse than CCing like 12 times to find a map, popping all your buffs, killing 3 monsters, and then DCing and losing half of them. So,
Oh, dude.
and then coming back and losing your map as well. And then
That's a good tip. I didn't know that you built up DC potential by.
yeah, it kind of yeah, switching characters a lot and switching channels a lot just seems to go hand in hand with like your memory leaking in the and not exactly sure why and how that all works, but it seems to make your client less stable. A lot of people will complain that they go to like they CC to like an MVP channel and then they CC back to their map and then they crash a lot. I see a lot of connection there between people losing their buffs, losing their stuff. Yeah, and it's just it sucks, but you have to kind of play around it, sadly.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right. Once the secondary and all of the secondaries, once that all the accessories, I mean, once that all in place, then you just go basically just the highest level item to lowest, and then the main thing is going to be waiting for a 5, 10, 15 event to get everything to 17.
Okay.
Yeah, so in general 30% off events are really good to get to 15, and then 5, 10, 15 is really good to get to 17. Just it costs you half the money of off event. So we don't have one announced right now, but hopefully with the anniversary event, hopefully we'll get one in the sunny Sundays, and then once we get it, that'll be in the event calendar as well. And then you can make some big gains there, a lot of magic attack per star. So because potential wise, I think you know potential wise what you're aiming for, right?
Yeah, I think
CRA stuff.
having everything is pretty good. There's a couple things I think like my cape and stuff I gotta work on, but I can do that slowly. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I have a checklist that I found online that's pretty good too. It's like what to work on when, and that's what I've been following anyways. But yeah, it's
yeah, it's definitely saving up for a 5, 10, 15, and then so kind of like once you check out the flames and the flame scores, once that kind of like sinks in, I think you'll be able to see which items have the most potential out of your equips probably pretty quickly, and then that's just going to be the next target of your flames. And then once that one gets like a nice one, then the next item will be still pretty obvious, and then they'll all start getting pretty close, and then it just, if they're all really close, it doesn't really matter which one you pick. Just pick one, and then if it gets better, then
Right.
you pick the other one. Once you get to the items without flame advantage, and that's all explained as well. That's when you're really just kind of like min-maxing, trying to get like 5 or 10 extra stat. At that point, you want to make sure that your flames aren't able to make any kind of reasonable impact on your flame advantage items, and you're just trying to get some value out of them rather than just letting them expire, essentially.
Okay.
And it's also lower risk, because if you do end up with 0 on the item, on your last flame, you're only losing like 10 or 15 stats, so it's not like, oh no, now I can't kill the boss anymore.
End of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as bad.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think 5, 10, 15 will be huge for you, because I think that's about 17 magic attack per item. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 items. So you're looking at like 200 magic attack increase.
Not bad.
170, 80. Oh, 250 actually. 250, yeah. And then plus all the stat it gives you as well. Yeah, you're gonna feel that, definitely. And then by that time, your link skills and your legion will come more online. Extra line of magic attack on your secondary. Yeah, as long as the boost nodes keep nice and leveling and the arcane symbols keep coming up nice and easy, you'll a bunch of stuff. Like what I said before, what I kind of promised before, like the bosses that you'll be able to do, that mainly comes down to practice and just going in and figuring that stuff out.
Failing and learning, and that's cool.
Yeah, you learn the most by just trying and then
doing.
Yep. And then trying to realize what went wrong. And it's probably like the chess guy said, like you can learn way more from a loss than you can learn from a victory sometimes.
I mean, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. If you got a game plan and it works perfectly, you
don't really think, oh, let's find out what I did wrong. Because
exactly. Well, you learn that it can work, and you're like, yay.
Yeah.
But if you have a loss,
even if it's not the best,
if you had a game plan and it goes sideways and you end up losing, now you know a counter to your game plan. So now you have to devise like a counter to the counter, and that makes your game plan even stronger in the long run. So, sometimes you need a boss or an opponent to expose a weakness so that you can get stronger. But yeah, man. Yeah, just the balance. It's all about the balance. If you feel it creeping up, you feel the burnout coming, you feel like, ugh, why do I even load into this game? Just maybe like turn off the screen, or just like turn around your chair and look at something else and just think about it. Like, why do I want to do it? Why do I not want to do it? Who do I want to have win in this battle? Like there's the shoulder angel and there's the shoulder devil. What are their arguments, and who do you think has the best point? And just go with that one.
Word. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for going a little long.
Yeah, no
Sorry
problem.
for the stream.
It's no big deal. Oh,
people.
Okay, last thing. For the hyperstats, I think you're at that point now where if you get the points out of attack power and out of intellect, you have so many points that those points are better used in your ignore defense and your boss damage. Kind of in the same way that for Legion, once you have more of the Legion grid on the outside available, you kind of take the points out of the middle grid and you put them in the outsides instead. It's a very similar visual representation of what's going on.
So you'd want like the crit rate up to 100.
Mm-hmm. And then the
which
IED.
I think I already have.
Yeah.
And then IED. Okay.
Yeah, and then IED up to 10, and then evenly between crit damage, and boss damage.
Crit damage, and boss damage. Okay.
Yeah. And then if you have any left, then you put it in attack power, and then if there's anything left, you put it into intellect. However, with the compensation, with the potions and everything, you might be leveling pretty quickly. So I would just leave the level up, the rest of the hyperstat points, I would just leave them, because you might level a lot and get a lot of points, and then to basically avoid having to redo it all again. If you just wait a bit and then maybe put another point in boss damage or another point in damage once you can afford it, that'll just save you a little bit of money and a little bit of trouble, because you don't get that much out of the little bit of attack power and intellect. It's more like when you're not leveling actively, you get at least something out of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks.
Well, same time next week.
Yeah. We'll we'll catch up. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, but I think you have You have a very solid foundation, and I think you will find that your character at this is capable of a lot, but you have to, well, you have to, but there is work required to expose that. Yeah, there's practice and effort involved to bring that out. It's not gonna do it by itself. But whether you enjoy that or not, you'll find that out as you go. If the game isn't for everyone, it's not for everyone. So if you find it's not tickling your pickle in the right way, then you just go play something else.
Yeah, man.
Become a chess grandmaster.
Exactly.
Or something.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, easier said than done. Because those guys, they put a lot of time in too. Oof.
Dude, oh my fucking god. Have you ever met someone who's a chess grandmaster? They're all fucking crazy.
They are, yeah. I mean,
like there are very few like.
I don't know. Yeah, like well adjusted. I don't know if they can stop. They can turn that off. That like thinking 15 moves ahead. I feel like once you're in that mindset, you kind of apply that to everything because you have to, because you're constantly in that mode. And I don't know if you can. You have to find someone who can turn that off and be like in the moment and just in the conversation as well, without like like bishop
But a lot of grandmasters don't do well teaching because they can't turn it off.
Yeah, or
it's like
they have to go back 15 years to try to get into the mindset of how they were then.
Yeah.
And that could be very hard for sure.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think if anything we missed stuff here is because kind of the lack of time, because of how long we went from the beginning. Usually I like to take more time and go a bit more in depth with most stuff. But yeah, so if you go through the videos and there's still some missing links and still some things that you would like to have like specifically explained, just hit me up on Discord and then we can just iron it out.
Thanks, man.
All right, no problem. And best of luck, and I'll see you around.
Yeah, man. Take care.
All right, take care. See ya. All right, that was another quick and easy progression session, plus therapy session. That was all included in the price in exactly 1 hour and a half, or 2 hours and 24 minutes. Holy shit! Should charge for that extra hour if. But yeah, that's all stuff that's like going off in the back of my mind. I don't talk about that much actively, but I hope for some people to give a little bit of an idea, because I do have a history, or I am schooled in human resources. I do have a bachelor's, and a lot of stuff that we deal with is burnout in the workplace, like how to avoid that, how to help people who have burnout like get back into work, how to help people find their own limitations, find their own boundaries, that kind of stuff. It's a huge thing, and you probably, if you have questions about that or you think that you're heading for that, find someone. If you don't know someone, then your parents will definitely know someone who had like burnout and got over it, and just chat with them about it. It can be like a stranger, or it could be like an aunt, like a coworker of your parents. I bet that they will love talking about it if they're over it, because they would never want it to happen to anyone. So if they can have any kind of positive effect of having someone else not have to go through that, people will be more than willing to help, because it is it's not good. It's bad. People can get stuck because you get that feeling of that you're kind of useless, that you're not adding value, but that you should be. Which makes it worse, your situation, and then people get like more and more stuck, and you kind of like spiral out of control. And then what happens is you will try to get back on the horse a little bit too early, or a lot a bit too early, and then it'll get even worse, and then you'll like hard fall down, and then it's really hard to crawl out of that. So yeah. But yeah, if this session was interesting to you, or helpful, or therapeutic, or cathartic, I'm glad. And if you want one of these sessions, or you have a guild that you want to join in either EU or NA, check the description of the video. Or if you have data in terms of monster skill per hour, battle analyses, or training videos in Moonbridge or higher, any of the Tenebris areas, also check the video description and link that data to me so I can give it back to the community in terms of advice and ranking of all the classes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.